And now, an on-air sports marketing presentation. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B, now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, D-backs are back home, but are the bats still missing as Arizona sits just one game over 500, 19-18, and already trails the Dodgers by 6 games, heading into a huge series at Chase Field. Can they find their swing, or will L.A. keep pulling away? That's something we're going to get into today. We'll also get into some NBA playoffs. We had some history made last night as the Thunder dropped a record 87 points in the first half against Denver. Even Charles Barkley thinks they're title bound, and we will get into that. Boston, they got stunned. They exploded in a negative way. They were outscored 30-17 in the fourth. At one point, they had missed 14 straight shots. So coming up this hour, we'll talk some Dodgers. We will actually have our replay rewind. We'll talk about that historic 87-point half and the Knicks stunning the Celtics once again. Jody Jackson joins us to talk Arizona Diamondbacks as we are coming to you live from Twin Peaks in Tempe. Roc, no Manuch. We got Jimmy B, we got Jackson, we got Connor back at the ESPN 620 studios. But let's start with D-backs, as last night wasn't good as they once again struggled with the bats, some careless plays around the bases, and it all started right out of the gate when you see what's his name? I'm losing my effing mind.
Which guy?
Carroll getting caught stealing.
Oh, Corbin Carroll, yes.
I'm like, what's going on here?
Look, I've been watching. I watched a lot of early games, and the mistakes that this team is making are not Major League Baseball mistakes. They're more like minor league,
like fundamental
baseball mistakes.
Fundamental errors, right?
Fundamental errors, yes. And for the life of me, I have no idea why that is happening. That you have quality fielders who are making errors on the bases, who are getting thrown out, and I just find it's frustrating, and I get why manager Torey Lovullo is so frustrated as well, because he knows he has a talented team, but yet they aren't playing like they are a talented team. They play as a talented team in spots, and then it's mind-blowing.
And the game was sloppy from the start. You know, I tried to mention, I couldn't speak. I was tongue-tied with Corbin Carroll, thrown out trying to steal.
Yep.
Tawa botched a routine grounder.
Mm-hmm.
Gino Suarez was gunned down at home. You had a bunt call by the manager in the third when the pitcher struggling to find the strike zone. It backfired immediately, followed by a double play to kill the inning. They're creating these own mistakes by themselves.
Yes,
and they need to. They can't afford to do that.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't. And to your point, it's fundamental.
Yeah,
and the inconsistency adds to that even more so.
Which brings us then to our State 48 Roofing. It's your call question of the day, and for Arizona residential and commercial markets, it's got to be State 48 Roofing, with over a decade of opportunity to serve the state of Arizona. And for a free quote repair or installation, just head to state48roofing.com. You can always follow them on social media by searching #SexyRoofStatus. Here's the question. Why are the D-backs so inconsistent right now? Why are they so inconsistent right now? You have 4 options. A, lack of timely hitting. B, bullpen sucks pond water. C, early injuries to the rotation. Or D, too many fans cheering for the other team. Just go to Roc and Manuch on Twitter, cast your vote, and we will update as the show goes on.
I'm going to go with lack of timing of hitting. This is a team that was scoring some runs last year. Like from the open, we talked about, are they going to have their bats tonight? They haven't had their bats. And it's tough. Bullpen, we know, but I'm not going to say sucks pond water because that's a strong word to say sucks.
You think that's
they're not the worst? They're not the worst bullpen in baseball.
No, they are not the worst. I mean, you can go to the bad teams, go to the Chicago White Sox. I mean, but they are not considered to be in that category of bad teams. The Diamondbacks are considered to be a wild card team. Okay. So if you are considered to be a upper echelon team and your bullpen is sucking like pond water, then it fits appropriately. If you were a team that was considered to be you're out of it by the end of May, then that's not the appropriate statement because everybody expected you to be out of it to begin with. But this is a team in the Diamondbacks with the pitching staff that they assembled, with the hitting staff that they have right now. A lot of people thought that this team was going to challenge the Dodgers and Padres for that top spot. It hasn't happened yet.
Still got a lot of time.
Well, I'm saying
we have getting started in May.
Games. We have 322 games still to play.
Yeah,
I understand that, and things obviously in Major League Baseball can flip. However, Rock, the point that I'm going to make here, you cannot get 10 games back by the end of May and then expect by the end of July to miraculously jump 2 or 3 teams to get into playoff contention. You just can't fall that far behind. Right now, they are 6 back of the Dodgers, whom they begin a series with tonight.
All right. I'm not going to be Debbie Downer like you are.
Okay.
All right, let's look at some bright spots.
Okay.
Can we pull some positivity out of this?
Sure, yeah.
Corbin Carroll.
Yes.
He continues to show signs that he's breaking out.
Has dropped below 300 in his average.
Okay, but he's reached base 4 times with a homer, 2 walks, and a single.
Yep.
Merrill Kelly.
Yep.
He's got that cramping issue.
Didn't cramp.
Pitched well through 6 innings, allowing just 1 run.
The home run.
And he started tiring in the 7th, but his command was sharp. 6 strikeouts, no walks.
Right.
The bullpen, Beeks, we'll see.
Okay,
we'll worry about him. But the offense has struggled. The talent is there. We know that. If they can clean up these fundamentals, they have the pieces, I think, to remain at least.
Contention.
It's a long stretch.
It is, yeah.
So, I mean, I'll look at it that way.
3 minutes,
I don't know
3
what
minutes.
the urgency. I mean, there's some urgency right now for a team that's hovering around 500. But they had these inconsistencies last year, too.
They did.
They did. They really did.
Did they make the playoffs last year?
No.
Okay, that's my point.
Okay,
because they fell so far behind.
But 2 years ago when they went to the World Series, we were in May, and we're like, this isn't a World Series team. Anything can happen.
I'm well aware of that, but they got lucky. They backed in, and then they got hot at just the right time. And look, I'm not taking away anything. I loved every moment of it because that's what sports is all about, particularly professional sports, is you get hot at the right time, and they did.
When does it get to the point where we point fingers to the coaching staff? These defensive lapses, the base running mistakes, a lot of that is on the player at the end of the day.
It is.
When it comes to base running, you have 3 guys out there that are helping these guys, first base, third base, and a manager.
2 minutes.
Right?
2 minutes.
That
that
is
are
correct.
giving these guys direction.
Yes.
And they're still making some big time mistakes.
Corbin Carroll has a green light.
He should.
He should.
He should. Yeah, I don't have a problem with him getting caught stealing.
Okay.
I don't. I like his aggressiveness.
I do too. And I'm not going to I can't beat up Torey Lavello yet because he doesn't play. He doesn't hit. He doesn't field. He doesn't throw.
Okay.
His job is to put who he believes are the best players on the diamond for each and every game. Once he does that, for me, it is up to the players to perform. And so then we go back to what you said. It's lack of fundamentals. They are not performing and doing the major league fundamental things that you would expect them to do.
Yamamoto is on the mound for the Dodgers today, arguably one of the best pitchers in baseball. I think he's hasn't been scored on. I mean, one time in 4 out of 5 games or something like that, he hasn't been scored on. He's got a 4-2 record, a 0.90 ERA.
How good is that?
I mean, are you kidding me with that?
That's
Brandon Pfaadt,
that's
who's
Bob
probably
Gibson.
the top pitcher for this team right now.
Yep.
5-2 with a 3.79 ERA. He will start, but this one will get going tonight. But also, Shohei Ohtani is expected to be in the lineup as a designated hitter, as he's still recovering. But that's good. Everybody wants to go see him.
Yep, absolutely.
So I'm sure it'll be a huge crowd out there at the stadium.
I bet it's 60-40 Dodger fans.
Yeah, that kind of is why you probably put that that in your question there.
That is correct.
For our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question, which you can find on our X page at Roc and Manuch. Well, we're out here.
You guys are cleared of wrap.
We are out here at Twin Peaks in Tempe. We'll be here till 4 o'clock. Happy hour begins at 3. The Thunder dropped an NBA playoff record, 87 points in the first half against the Nuggets in Game 2. And how about those Knickerbockers? They outscored Boston 30-17 in the fourth, while the Celtics missed 14 straight shots. It's time for our replay, rewind, and it's coming up next right here on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Now on ESPN 620, 98.7 HD2, and streaming live at ArizonaSports.com.
It's time for our Replay Rewind. The top sounds of the night and whatever Rock decides to add. Let's get to it in Replay Rewind with Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620 and on FM at 98.7 HD2.
All right, today's Replay Rewind is powered by Lerner and Rowe. Interact, need a check. Make one call, that's all, 602-977-190, or hit them up on lernerandrowe.com for a free consultation. All right, let's start with the Thunder, as they put on a show yesterday in that first half. They set an NBA record of 87 points. They shot close to 59% from the field, 44% on three-pointers, and close to 95% on free throws. They surpassed the record of 86, which was by the Cavs against the Warriors in Game 4 of the NBA Finals in 2017. What else can you say about this, Jimmy? I mean, it was just off the charts.
It was. I mean, they were scoring from the popcorn machine at the concession stands. That's how good they were last night.
Specifically in that first half. Here's Charles Barkley on TNT last night. He thinks this team's going to win the championship.
Chuckster, I'm going to throw this at you so that we can throw some pictures of what Oklahoma City did in the first half, but it's been total domination.
That's the team we expected that's been arguably the best team, probably the best team in the NBA all year. They were aggressive. They wasn't selling. I told you, Ernie, I thought that Jalen Williams, he had to come to play, and he came to play. Them two big boys, they giving the Joker all he wants. They got two big bodies to throw at him, and and this man, I'm so proud of this kid right here. The way he's shooting the ball, he missed that one, but man, he is a monster. But it's the best defensive team in the NBA, and this guy right here is the MVP. They can already send it to him. We're gonna see him in the Western Conference Finals when he get his MVP trophy.
Wow, 87 to 56.
You put them past Denver and they're down 0-1. I think that team gonna win the championship.
Okay, yeah.
So one of the reasons why that big success in the first half was SGA. He led the way, 18 points. All five Thunder starters scored in double figures in the first half. That's how big it was. And here's some highlights. Of course, that's what we do here. We play some highlights. Here he is driving on the Joker, which this – go ahead. I'm sorry, Connor. Go ahead.
8:42 to go in the third quarter. On the switch, Gilgeous-Alexander crosses over and gets it to go. SGA is smooth with it. Oh, extension on that bench. 22 points.
He ended up leading 8 assists in 3 quarters.
Look, the guy is going to be the NBA MVP. And I believe that Nikola Jokic is the best player on the planet. And he proved it in Game 1. And I would vote for Jokic over SGA, but they don't want to give Jokic a third MVP award. So they'll do the same thing to Jokic like they did Steve Nash when he had 2 in a row, and then they did not name his third in a row, even though his third season was even better. So SGA will most likely get that award. Look, the guy's a terrific player. He is so much fun to watch, and he breaks you down off the dribble. He can take you to the hoop, and he can spot you up as well. And when he has it going, he is pretty much unstoppable.
Here he is postgame on the court on TNT.
Send it over to Stephanie.
Thank you so much, Ian. Okay, let's break this down. You guys had a lead at large as 49 points tonight. Coming off of Game 1 and that disappointment, the heartbreak at the end, how do you all regroup and have a performance like tonight?
Yeah, we came out here desperate. We knew what it would look like going down 0-2 on the road. That wasn't really an option for us. We knew that waking up this morning. And we did the necessary things to get a W. Now it's about watching it, just like we did the last game, and getting ready for the next one. It's a really good basketball team over there, and every game is going to look different. We got to be ready.
I'm glad you brought that up because the next game will be in Denver. They obviously are going to try to regroup as you all did. How do you go into an opponent's arena and try to have a performance like you did tonight?
Yeah, worry about the little things that got us a W tonight. No matter what arena you're in, the game of basketball is the same. It takes the same intangibles to get a W, and that's what we focus on. We did so tonight. We didn't do our greatest job game 1, and that's why we lost. We got to do the same thing game 3 and game 4 if we want to get a W on the road.
This guy is not only a great interview, he's an honest interview, because he said, we didn't do what we did in game 1 like what we did tonight. So we really had to refocus, and that's exactly what they did. And they were red hot right out of the gate.
All right, let's move on to the Knicks and the Celtics, as this is the first time in NBA history that a team has come back from 20 points to win 2 consecutive playoff games. Now, we'll start with Jalen Brunson, who didn't have a particularly efficient night, 17.6 of 19, 2 of 9 from three-pointer, but he did have 7 assists in his 38 points. But here, or 38 minutes, excuse me. But here he is giving the Knicks their first lead of the game, and this was late in the fourth quarter.
Clutch player. The award went to him. A chance for the lead here for the first time tonight.
He's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Mighty Mouse was a nickname that was given to a certain player who played for the University of Arizona and then played in the NBA. And I'm going to steal it and put it now on Jalen Brunson. He is not the biggest guard, but he talented. His daddy was talented at the University of Temple, just like his son. His dad played hard in the NBA as well, but his son is way better than his dad.
Because I'm born in Philadelphia, part of the Big Five,
Yes.
went to Penn for a very brief moment.
Okay.
Been a lot of games at the Palestra.
A moment. Yeah.
It's Temple University, not the University of Temple.
Okay, Temple University.
Big difference.
Yes, there is.
It's like
Yeah.
OU,
Yeah.
University of Oklahoma.
Yeah, you're right.
All right.
Thank you for the correction.
What made the difference last night, the play of the game, had to be Mikal Bridges. He blocked Jason Tatum. He blocked Jason Tatum on the final possession of the game to give the Knicks the 91-90 win.
They're going to go. They're not going to use the timeout. Plenty of time here. It's Tatum. Robinson's on him. Tatum maneuvering. Oh, the ball wrapped away. Another great defensive play for the Knicks. They've got it. They've won it. New York has gone up 2 games to none. And defense again at the end.
What was amazing about this, though, Jimmy, was the fact that Bridges didn't score in the first 3 quarters. Then he goes off for 14 in the final frame.
That was the knock on him. Yeah, that was the knock when he was here, is that inconsistent offensively.
Yeah.
And so when he went to Brooklyn in the trade with Kevin Durant,
3 minutes,
was acquired in another deal by the New York Knicks, there were similar things that were talked about in the news media and by fans about his inconsistencies on offense. He got better as this season went on. And then in the game last night, you saw those inconsistencies like what you just referenced, Rock. He did not put a point on the board until he got to the fourth quarter. But when you got to the fourth quarter, the cream always rises to the top, and he turned it on and made it work. And we always knew that he was a sensational defensive player, and you are seeing how positive he is on both ends of the court.
All that NBA, thanks to TNT. Let's turn our attention to the Arizona Diamondbacks. We got two clips that we want to play. We'll start with Merrill Kelly, who took the loss. He allowed 3 runs on 6 hits. He did have 6 strikeouts. He had no walks, but the key was the cramping. No cramping. Here he is after the game talking about the new treatment to avoid the cramping.
I mean, I think cramps. So whatever we did worked. I think that's the tough part. It's hard to say that, we did this and it didn't work today, or we did that and it didn't work today. But yeah, I tried moving around a little bit more. Trying not to shut down, trying not to cool off too much. I felt like I was maybe trying to down-regulate a little bit too much in between innings and then expecting, the nervous system to go out and fire. So I think it was probably just a little confused. So that's what we went with today. And, we'll keep going at it. But it was, as far as that goes, obviously we didn't get the win on the field. But for me, the no cramps is obviously a win.
Okay, so they talked about it on the broadcast last night. fans were sending him pickle juice and pickles. So I don't know if he took any of that or not. But did he just say, Connor, can you play that again for me real fast? Was it deregulate? Is that what he said about shutting down?
I mean, I think cramps. So whatever we did worked. I think that's the tough part. It's hard to say, like, we did this and it didn't work today, or we did that and it did work today. But yeah, I tried moving around a little bit more. Trying not to shut down, trying not to cool off too much. I felt like I was maybe trying to down regulate a little bit too much in between innings.
Wait a minute, stop. What the hell is down regulate? What is that?
I don't know. Why don't you ask him? I have no idea. No idea.
Okay.
That's courtesy of Arizona Sports. Let's squeeze one more in. Here's Torey Lovello on the offensive struggles.
It was one of those days, it didn't have a great feel to it from where I was in the dugout, and we just couldn't get rolling. So maybe it's a credit to their starting pitcher. He's got very good stuff, but I believe enough in that team and that's sitting in that clubhouse right now that they can put up points against any type of starting pitching. We got to be able to beat any type of starter.
Torey Lovello, again, all this sound brought to you by Arizona Sports 98.7 and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Today's Replay Rewind is brought to you, as it is each and every day, by Lerner & Rowe. Interact, need a check. Make one call, that's all, 602-977-1900. And always online at lernerandrowe.com. Get your free consultation today. Again, that's 602-977-1900. Lerner & Rowe, they can help. Well, coming up, Jody Jackson joins us to break down the D-backs' latest woes. But first, Jax has your Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. Rolling across the valley on ESPN 620, on FM at 98.7 HD2, and streaming nonstop on the Arizona Sports app.
Roc with Jimmy B. Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update. I'm Jackson Ross. The Arizona Diamondbacks kick off a long-awaited NL West slate tonight, finally meeting the division rival Los Angeles Dodgers for the first time this season, 38 games in. It's the latest start to division play in franchise history after an East Coast heavy leading schedule. Arizona now faces 13 straight NL West matchups, starting with 4 against the Dodgers this weekend. Brandon Pfaadt will take the mound tonight against Yamamoto, who leads the MLB
25.
with a .9 ERA. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals rookie minicamp begins tomorrow in Tempe. The rookies have checked in today and will also be talking to the media.
15.
This 3-day camp marks their first chance to work with coaches and teammates on the field. The NBA and NHL playoffs are heating up, and there's no better place to catch every minute than Twin Peaks. All
5
5 Valley
seconds.
Twin Peaks locations, Scottsdale, Camelback, Deer Valley, and where the guys are at today in Tempe. Eats, drinks, scenic views, Twin Peaks.
Need to feed a crowd? Let Venencia's bring the flavor to
Thursday, and welcome to Lodge Mentality. The guys are live at Twin Peaks Tempe, located in the Tempe Marketplace. Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge and home of the 29-degree beer, served in perfectly frosted 22-ounce mugs. Here's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
All right, Jody Jackson now joins us here on the Right Toyota guest line as we talk some Arizona Diamondbacks, as the D-backs will host the Dodgers that are in town. D-backs now 19-18. They've lost 9 of their last 14 after yesterday's 7-1 loss. Jody now joins us. How you doing, Jody? How's your Thursday going?
You know, it's going pretty darn good, guys. I'm excited to see, if the Diamondbacks can start playing, better baseball. I'm not saying they weren't trying to do that before, but there's something about the Dodgers being in the building that may heighten that urgency. It's just a natural thing, a division opponent, all of that. I'm excited for it.
Jody, do you think there's an internal sense of urgency right now with this team because they're hovering around 500? You keep seeing some of these inconsistencies that we kind of saw last year too. You think they're talking about this internally?
Oh yeah. No, they know they're not playing their best. Whether it's not getting a bunt down, whether it's making errors that we don't usually see, and then it's other things like. Another obvious one is not getting a good jump, stealing a base. Whatever reason, a little bit like not pulling the trigger at the right time there. Maybe being tentative or whatever, and then even not getting, some of the outfielders not getting the right jump, things that they're really good at, things that they have been good at in the past. And it's just a reminder that, even though you've been good at stuff like that in the past, all that matters is how you're doing now. So they know they have to sharpen up a lot of those things.
Jody, it's my contention that they have to start to get some wins and get some consistency going, because they cannot afford to be 10 games back at the end of May and then have to try to run down the Giants, the Padres, and the Dodgers in an effort to qualify as at least a wild card team. Do you have that same sense of urgency? I was thinking if they stayed within 5 or 6 games, 7 games of the top spot, they would be okay in the National League West, but I don't think you can let it go to 10.
No, yeah, they know. And, right now they're 6 behind the Dodgers, and that's already a wider gap than they were hoping that it would be. So, no, you're right. You can't – they're going to – these other teams they're going to go through a stretch. I feel confident in that, right? They're going to go through some rough patches, but if you're already 8, 9, 10 games back, that's going to be really difficult to gain any ground. You're going to have to play for baseball, and that's just too much to ask. So, yeah, it's got to start now. This 4-game series will tell you a lot. And this team, I think there's a little concern, right? Are these Diamondback players, are they able to go back to what they have been so good at in the past? And even the new additions, where are they at with, is Corbin Burns going to get right? He looked like he was on the right track before the injury. All of those things, I think there are some questions. We felt really good about them coming into the season. Like, hey, they won 89 games, but can they win 92? Can they win? And right now they're not looking like they're on pace for that at all. So they have to answer some questions, and I know they're eager to do it. And so we just have to see it. I mean, actions speak louder than the words, right?
Jody Jackson here on ESPN 620. Are they underachieving, or is this who they really are through the first month of the season? There's so much expectations. We know it's a long season, Jody, but could they be underachieving, or maybe this is the team they have? They're a 500 team.
Man, I'm not ready to accept they're a 500 team.
Okay.
I just think that it's been kind of one thing or the other, right? So, like, the offense was so hot. The starters were not doing well. The bullpen now has injuries. Now you've got some of the now the offense has trailed off a bit, right? Pavin Smith, 2 for 29. Cattell came back from injury, 2 for 16. Suarez hasn't had a homer since his 4-home run game. He's still like at the top of the league with 10. He's like in the top, the top 8 or 9 guys, but he hasn't hit one in a while. So they're not a 500 team. To me, they're clearly more talented than that, but they have yet to have everything working together. When the offense was going well, the starters were not. The starters have improved, and they've gone through some better stretches, and now you've got the bullpen finding its way. I mean, there's guys in the bullpen you never expected to see, right? Juan Murillo, Jose Castillo. You didn't even know. A lot of people didn't even know these guys were on the roster coming in. But then you have guys like Jalen Deeks and Shelby Miller and Ryan Thompson. And when you see those guys and Kevin Ginkel, when you see those 4 guys, you feel pretty good about it. The problem is they have to keep those guys rested. And then the offense, the offense should be better. We'll see. They did tear up Dodger pitching last year in the 13 games that they played them. And the Dodgers won 7 and the D-backs won 6. They scored, Arizona scored about 6.5 runs a game. And the Dodgers scored a lot of runs also. So, even though tonight it's Yamamoto for them, who's been ridiculous, he's been so good. He's only given up 1 earned run in 32 innings. And then you've got Fott that's performed well, but, he's coming off a bad outing. I don't know about tonight because you got to get to Yamamoto, but I think we could see a lot of runs in this series. And the Diamondbacks, that's not really the game they wanted to get into with the Dodgers, but, if it's a slugfest, they hope to be able to get, you hope to be able to get a split at least, right? With this, you need a split, and hopefully that's what happens. If not better than that.
Jody Jackson's our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Jody, how difficult has this been on Torrey? Because every time I watch his post-game comments, it's pretty much the same. We didn't do this. We made a couple of mistakes here. We had a couple of mistakes there. We're not hitting. We missed the bullpen didn't hold up the way I hoped it would. How tough has it been on him?
It has been tough, and I think that's why you guys probably heard the comment the other day at home about the 20% confused baseball. He actually dropped that statement in Philly, and it was kind of relating to Lourdes Gurriel Jr. not realizing, there was only 1 out in a situation, and he got doubled off. But just the fact that he would say that about his team that has really been a smart team, a team that doesn't make mistakes like that, and then he came home and there were some more mistakes and he used that term again. These coaches are, we know how smart Torrey and Jeff Bannister and, we have the same group of hitting coaches. You've got some new pitching coaches, but I mean, you've got quality
3 minutes
out there coaching these guys up and getting them ready to go out there and play. So why sometimes these things are still slipping through the cracks. You're right. Torrey's wearing it a little bit, and you could see that in the post game.
Jody, thanks for joining us. Sounds like you're on your way to the ballpark, so we'll be watching tonight. So thank you, as always, for squeezing us in, man. Appreciate it.
No problem. Yep, I'm headed out there early today. A lot going on, so you guys take care. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. We'll be watching. That's Jody Jackson joining us, of course, tonight. D-backs on MLB and on Cox 34 as this team, it's unfortunate that it's this part of the season. It's early, it's short part of the season. It's being defined, a few things, but fundamental errors, that's the big one, and some pitching struggles, because I think we went into the season saying, all right, this starting rotation could be one
pretty
of the best,
good. Yeah.
top 3, top 4 in all baseball, but we're getting an inconsistent performance by the starting rotation. And then you got a bullpen that unfortunately gives up some runs late in games.
You're being kind when you say that.
I know. And then there's some I would say inability to score runs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we talked earlier about, not inconsistency, but these hits that we need in a timely fashion.
The thing that I could hear it even in Jody's voice, and she covers
2 minutes,
the
2
team
minutes.
on an everyday basis.
Yeah.
So she's around the players. She's around the coaching staff. That's why I asked her the question about Torrey on his post-game comments, and you heard her explanation. He is indeed very frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm sure that when this season began, Rock, he probably felt that, we got a chance to be pretty good, and they're not.
So with that said, is there a sense that this team is playing tight or pressing due to, say, last year's expectations or the offseason expectations, I should say? Because, you had some postseason expectations.
You did.
Going into the season, but we do know what's ahead of us. I mean, you're seeing the teams that are going to be there, the Mets, the Dodgers, and then San Francisco. They head to San Francisco on Monday.
Right.
Man, I don't want to look ahead like Manuch does, but
no, I'm a today guy as well, and they got to concentrate on tonight's game. And you're right, they're going to face one of the best pitchers in all of baseball in Yamamoto.
Yeah.
So if they get beat tonight, I would say, okay, it was expected because Yamamoto is going to shut them down. However, Jody referenced the fact it'd be great if they got a split. It's a 4-game series. And if they split, so then you would feel, all right, reasonably decent that they did indeed play up to their capabilities against an excellent team.
Yeah, I'll take a split over the Dodgers all day long.
Yeah.
You don't want to go 3. You don't want to go 1-3, right?
No.
Hey, ESPN just dropped its post-spring top 25. And how about the Sun Devils? Arizona State cracks the list at 24. And we're going to get into if Kenny Dillingham wasn't already turning heads, as we think. Is he now? Could this be the year ASU surprises the nation? Also ahead, May is officially Parent Panic Month.
What?
Yeah, I'll tell you what that's all about next. Right here at Twin Peaks in Tempe. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B. ESPN's way too early college football top 25 rankings. On this day, Bobby Orr's iconic Stanley Cup goal in 1970. Bobby Orr scored one of the most legendary goals in history to give the Boston Bruins a 4-3 win in in overtime in the Stanley Cup in their first Stanley Cup in 29 years. And there was a photo of Orr flying through the air after being tripped. And you remember it, I'm sure, Jimmy. It's one of the most iconic images in sports history.
And people still believe that Bobby Orr was the best hockey player that ever played. That argument is still being made. But it is one of the most iconic NHL photos of all time. You know what else is on this day? Since we're doing NBA playoffs, it is also the day that Reggie Miller scored 8 points in 9 seconds.
That was today.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 8 points in
I missed
9
that.
seconds. Yeah.
I have this one.
Yeah.
1984.
Okay.
NBA playoff record. Magic Johnson, 24 assists as the Lakers beat the Suns. 24.
Yep.
How about that? Showtime.
The record is still Scott Skiles, and I think it's like 32 or 3 assists, but that was not in a playoff game, a regular season game.
Last one on this day, Kevin Garnett of the Minnesota Timberwolves scored 32 points, 21 boards, just out 5 assists in a Game 7 win over the Sacramento Kings, send the Wolves to the Western Conference Finals for the first, and I believe still the only time in franchise history. May might just be the official hell month for parents. There's a new poll that says end of school chaos hits 28 days before the last bell even rings. And it shows parents are juggling work, meal prep, carpool duty, somehow trying to figure out the next 3 months of summer plans, all while pretending to care about all the school awards, right? The ceremonies and all that stuff. So the average parent, according to this poll, gets 8% of their week to themselves, which is basically the time it takes to hide in the pantry, eat some snacks, and yeah. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So happy May, as you parents out there listening, deal with the struggles every day, and give you all the credit in the world.
They just go nuts.
School's
at this
out.
time of the year.
You look at school in Arizona too.
Yeah.
What a joke it is. I mean, first of all, I'm used to going till June.
Yep.
And then
start in
September.
Yes.
This is crazy. Not to mention, even the school system now, it could be a Wednesday in the middle of whatever month, and they get a day off or they get off early. If you got a job, how do you manage that?
I mean, I don't even know when the school year begins and when it ends, because they go almost full time, and then they have like 3 or 4 weeks off, and then they're back in again for about 5 or 6 weeks, and then they got 3 or 4 weeks off again. You can't. I mean, that's difficult.
So ESPN, as we get to Football 50, ESPN put these rankings together, top 25 list. And it's based on teams' performances during spring practice, the roster changes, like who's returning, the transfer portal, all that good stuff. And I have some takeaways, but I'll give you the list quickly. It's the way too early top 25 rankings. Penn State comes in at number 1. They claim the top spot, followed by Clemson, Texas, Georgia. The national champion Ohio State Buckeyes come in at number 5. Notre Dame 6, Ducks 7, Alabama 8, followed by LSU and Michigan rounding out the top 10. Okay. You got Florida State at 11, USC, Washington Huskies at 13, Utah comes in at number 14, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, North Carolina with Bill Belichick at 17, Manuch's K-State Wildcats 18, Miami, Wisconsin, Ole Miss, Iowa, Louisville, Arizona State Sun Devils at 24, and rounding out the top 25, the Oklahoma Sooners. Now, Penn State, there's some huge expectation with James Franklin there.
And Drew Allar, their quarterback.
Yeah, but this program has been built on their defense, right?
Yes.
For the most part.
Yeah.
If Drew has enough firepower, we'll see if he can control this, because he's a stud. He's going to be the guy they're going to talk about.
Yep.
Heisman Trophy candidate, all that kind of stuff. And then when you look at number 2, you got Clemson. Are they going to bounce back? They kind of had a quiet year. They're ranked number 2.
Yep.
Dabo Sweet's under some pressure to prove that this program is still elite. My sister, her husband, they all went to Clemson. So I know the program. But remember, he didn't want to do the transfer portal.
No.
He resisted the transfer portal. and it backfired.
Yes.
Texas, are they back? They cracked the top 3.
Probably crap too.
Can they maintain the momentum in the SEC?
Arch Manning.
They don't have any off weeks, I don't think. I think their schedule have no
really
off
tough,
weeks.
Really tough.
Then Arizona State. They sneak in at 24.
Mm-hmm.
Some feel that's a surprise. Kenny Dillingham has rebuilt this program. He's done a great job, but is there an overreaction?
I think that
5 minutes.
if
5
Cam
minutes.
Skattebo was still running the football and not now in the National Football League, they probably would have been a top 15 team. But with the loss of Skattebo,
you really think that one player?
Yes, because of
go
what
from
he
24
did.
to 15?
Yes, because of the way that
Wow.
he could control a game for Arizona State. I really believe they would have checked in as a top 15, maybe 14 or 15.
I don't know if his body could have gone through what he did this past year.
I'm just
players
saying
are
that
going
if
to
he
key
was
in on
here,
him.
right? But now that
For
he has moved on to the NFL, Sam Levitt is the guy with the target on his back, and the good news is that the line is back to protect him. They have a great defensive line as well, with most of those players returning. And so I think that Levitt is going to have a super year. The question will be, can they run the football enough effectively? They can't repeat what Skattebo did, but can they be effective enough on the ground to take some of the pressure off the quarterback in Sam Levitt?
Jax, you're not going to
He's
chime in on this?
I was waiting for my time. Penn
Mr.
State's
College football
James
guy.
Franklin, so much pressure on him.
There
right?
is.
You build all the way up to this point. A lot of guys coming back. They're 2 running backs. They went in the portal. They got some wide receivers. Losing Tyler Warren's going to be tough, but you're right. It all comes down to Drew Aller. And James Franklin gets all the buzz about Kenny win the big one.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to come down to him. The thing you said about Dabo Swinney is interesting because they've been riding the train of freshmen and sophomores every year. And now they get older and older and more experienced. This and next year are like the window. I think this year more specifically because this is last year's Cade Klubnik for his eligibility.
Yep.
Year 3, you saw towards the end towards Texas.
3 minutes. 3 minutes.
I think Arizona State's super low. I disagree with you, Jimmy B. I think Cam Skattebo is a big factor. But I think him not having Jordan Tyson in that game put so much of a load against Texas. And I think people are going to start to know that the offense is going to change for Sam Levitt to be able to air it out more, a pass-first offense. And you're going to see a lot of running backs, what they did in the offseason, guys like Kyson Brown or the guy they got out of Army or Raleek Brown. It's going to be 3 or 4 running backs that they're going to rotate in. I think Arizona State is super slept on, and I think them being at 24, I would put them in the top 15 right now. I think they're a really talented team. What's interesting, too, you mentioned there, too, Rock, is Washington being super high. So them coming back with Damon Williams, who's from Basha, maybe year 2 and Jed Fish. Maybe they could figure things out in the Big Ten. But it'll be interesting. We'll come back to this around the time in the fall. It's going to be that Big Ten team that sneaks in over the SEC team that's a 2-loss, 3-loss team that people are going to be mad about again because Indiana was mad about it last year.
2 minutes.
Illinois
2 minutes.
is a similar thing this year where they've got a veteran quarterback and an easy schedule. They do. Just warnings, SEC fans.
Yep.
They're going to get upset when a 3-loss South Carolina doesn't make it in over a 1-loss Illinois because their schedule.
I agree with that statement 100%. I really do. And then you're going to hear the screaming even louder than what it was the first year of the 12-team playoff.
Ohio State's interesting, too, because you got so much talent you lost from last year, and you got to open up with Texas. And Texas is an underdog at Ohio State. So that's going to be really interesting, too. But I'm excited for the college football season. I think it's a lot of schools that are rotating quarterbacks at the same time, and it's kind of those teams like the Penn States, the Texases, and Clemsons that have been kind of fiending for their chance to make their way up. Could this be their year? We'll see. It's definitely going to be fun to watch.
Utah was real high on this list, too. I had an opportunity to spend time with Coach Willingham last week. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but we talked about the season. They finished 5-7. He had some statistics.
1 minute. 1 minute.
Exactly on 4 or 5 of those games or like last second scores, or losses, which played into it. So plus quarterback issues that they had. They were on like 4 or 5 different quarterbacks throughout the course of the year. All right, hour number 2, Arcade Legends. You remember the game Defender or Miss Pac-Man just got their due. And Celtic fans, they're melting down, and I love it. back-to-back collapses. It's the blame on the
30
players,
seconds.
the coach, or is it both? We'll catch up with Boston writer and podcaster John Sapichetti. He will join us. We're live today from Twin Peaks in Tempe. Roc and Manuch, Jimmy B on ESPN 620. Also on 98.7 FM HD2 and always streaming 24/7 on the Arizona Sports app. Hour number 2.
It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B now on ESPN 620, 98.7 FM HD2, and streaming live at arizonasports.com. The guys are powered by the law offices of Lerner and Rowe. In a wreck and need a check? Make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. And now on your ESPN station in Phoenix, ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, D-backs are back home. They sit just one game over 500, 19-18. They already trail the Dodgers by 6 games. Got a huge series starting this weekend at Chase Field. Can they find their swing, or will Los Angeles keep pulling away? That's one of the questions we get into today. Also, we will talk about what happened in Boston as the Knicks stunned the Celtics again,
Incredible.
outscoring them 30-17 in the fourth, while the C's missed 14 straight shots. 14 straight shots. Also, a first manager fired for the 2025 season in baseball as the Pirates have fired Derek Shelton. They had a 7-game losing streak, so they have been struggling in the standings, and the decision reflects that this organization is looking for some urgency, and they want to reverse the past, but that's not going to happen because this team is not a good baseball team.
You have Paul Skeens.
They're probably have to trade him.
Maybe.
They'll suck. You're a Pirate fan?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, he has no help. No help whatsoever. He could be one of the best pitchers in baseball if he had any help and could be a possible 20-game winner, and they've done nothing. Nothing.
It's probably not a fair comparison to Pittsburgh fans, but when I think of the Pittsburgh Pirates, I think of the Oakland A's. Not low budget, but small market.
Yeah.
And they just have been – it's like – Pirates play baseball?
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Same with the White Sox.
Yeah. Now, I will say this. The Oakland A's are in the hunt right now.
I would love that. I'm always rooting for the A's.
In the AL West, they're playing really well, and they are selling out that 15,000-seat AAA park in Sacramento.
That's not surprising, is it?
No, it doesn't. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you expect.
Yes.
I mean, think about the Coyotes. They couldn't sell out
Right.
17 or 16,000, but when they're in Mullet, 5, no problem.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Yeah.
But let's talk about this Diamondbacks team. They lose yesterday 7-1. They're going to hopefully rebound. Brandon Pfaadt is on the mound, 5-2, 3.79 ERA. Dodgers, their ace. Yamamoto, who is 4-2. He's given up less than 1 run in 30-plus innings. Shohei Ohtani is expected to be in the lineup as well as a DH. This is going to be an interesting series.
And
it's always fun when the Dodgers come into town.
It is, and the stadium will be rocking. It'll probably be 60-40 Dodger fans in comparison. And look, I get it. It's expensive to go to a Dodger game in Los Angeles. It's also extremely inconvenient. Even though the proximity to downtown L.A., it's relatively close, but there's only one way in and one way out, and traffic is a nightmare to get into Chavez Ravine. I've been there, done that, know what it's like. So when you come here, you can probably catch a low-fare flight, land at Sky Harbor, Uber to downtown, hang out in Cityscape, or at the
Listen to you even know where to go.
I'm a refreshment stand guy.
No, you're really not.
So
why do you try to portray that?
Because
you try to be cool. You're like that kid that always got picked last.
I am that guy.
But nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
I got so many of my buddies
Yeah.
that all say they played high school football or they were the quarterback of their high school team. But there's no way to fact check it because it's so long ago. You're that guy.
If you look in the dictionary under cool, my picture's
No,
there.
it's not. It's
So-
like, I was fortunate yesterday morning to play 9 holes of golf and got teamed up with a guy who's a friend and he knew who you were, and I was shocked. He even threw it out some, small sports station, or not sports station, news station that you worked at doing TV, Channel 11 in Spokane or some small whatever. And I'm like, I can't find it online. Just like Manuch, we can't find any of his stats. Can't find any.
Well, I'm freaking 92.
Thought
What
you
the
were
hell do you
younger
expect?
than that.
I
All right,
just look
D-backs,
younger.
expectations versus reality.
Yeah.
That's where we're at. What are the expectations for the Diamondbacks? I went into this season 500. I was a little over 500 because of starting pitching.
Okay.
But they lost some key components to this team. I like what Naylor has done.
Jordan Montgomery was not a loss to me with his elbow surgery. Didn't blow my skirt up at all, even with him, if he were be able to pitch. So to me, that was not a loss. I had them battling for a wild card spot with the Padres. I think we've all conceded the fact that the Dodgers were far and away the best team, and they would most likely win the National League West. And then it would be a 2-horse race between the Diamondbacks and the Padres. I did not see the San Francisco Giants and the way that the Giants have been able to compete. And I know the season is still young.
Very young.
It's I go back to what I said in the first hour. You cannot fall 10 games behind, and then when you get into late July, try to jump 2 other teams in order to make a wild card spot. So
all right, but let's look at you.
I had them battling for a wild card.
Here we are, May 8th. Okay, of course it's early.
Yep.
But if you really truly go back to last season, 89 and 73, they were 1 win away from the postseason.
Correct.
If you remember how the season ended, it was Atlanta and New York. They played the last game of the regular season against each other. Both teams ended up in the postseason,
right,
ahead of Arizona because they got eliminated. But that could have been a big difference if they would have won more game. Then it would have been a different offseason for them, being in the playoffs. I mean, what we saw 2 years ago, no one expected them to get to the World Series.
That is correct.
And they did. So I'm not giving up on them. I mean, you've worked in baseball. I've worked in baseball. It's such a long season.
It is.
But you hear some of the pundits, you hear some of the talk show hosts that, really, the inconsistencies, the fundamentals, and this, timely hitting, they go on and on and on. And I understand it, and I agree with it. But I also sit back and wake, you go to sleep next day. Now, if they win tonight, it changes everything to the 7-1 loss yesterday.
Yeah. Well,
they beat the top pitcher in baseball.
There you go. And they beat the Dodgers.
And things are good for 24 hours.
So
the news cycle changes so fast.
It does. And that's what happens in Major League Baseball. What hasn't happened, however, for the Diamondbacks is that they have not been in the positive category of that news cycle very much in the early going of Major League Baseball schedule. And so they have to do something. I hate doing this, but I'll do it because we're doing sports talk radio and fans always like to forecast. So if the Diamondbacks were to
2.5.
3 games out of the 4, all of a sudden the narrative will be, they're right in the hunt for a wild card spot. Look how they did. Look what they did against the Dodgers. If they go 1-3, the narrative is going to be, oh boy, here we go. They're going to fall way behind.
But you can't argue it. I mean, all right, the Dodgers are 25-12.
Yeah.
All right.
Diamondbacks
are 19-18.
Yeah.
To your point, if they win 3, they'll go 22-19. Dodgers will be 26-15. It's a difference in wins of just 4 games. I mean, that's nothing.
No, I get that. When you look at it on paper, I'm just saying that the narrative from the fan base would be, hey, look what we just did against the Dodgers. This team has got it going now. Where if they lose and they're 1-3 against the Dodgers, oh, woe is me. This team is destined for disaster. That's the difference in that equation.
NBA playoffs, of course, Steph Curry hasn't.
That hurt. Really hurt.
He's got a hamstring injury. I love watching him play.
I do too.
I think most people do. Yep. And when you hear he gets hurt and he may be out, and during,
he's going to miss at least 2 games.
He doesn't get hurt much.
No.
Here's a quote during shoot-around today. He says, "This is new. And from all that I'm hearing about how quickly you can get back, there has to be a healing process. You can't accelerate it more than what it's telling you. So it'll be one of those after a week. Then they'll reevaluate every day to understand when it's safe. Just even think about playing, let alone how much you can push it."
You can't ask him. You can't just tape it up and say, go out there. Because if he really, really injures it, then he's done for the entire series.
What's interesting about the NBA is they'll play back-to-backs, and then they'll have a big break, and then they'll get going again, and then they'll get a big break. Because if you look at Curry, he's out for at least Game 4, all right? We know that. He'll be reevaluated then. But Game 5 is 8 days since he got injured.
Correct.
So, there's a 3-day break before Game 6, and if there's a Game 7, if they can get that far, that's 12 days to recover.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Game 7 is May 20th. Here we're on the 8th.
With modern medicine, yes.
I don't know, but hammies, we hear about hammies all the time.
I know. That's what I said. You cannot rush a hamstring. And because if indeed he came back and he's playing and he really stretches it, and then he's done for the rest of the series, whatever that
You guys
may
are clear to
be.
wrap when
And
you're ready.
if they won the series and moved to the next round, Rock, he would be out of the next round as well due to the severity of that hamstring injury.
We'll talk about the New York and Boston series in about 20 minutes, but we're going to kind of go off script as a lot of us love arcade games growing up, stand-up arcade games.
That's right.
And there are some arcade legends like Defender and Miss Pac-Man that have just leveled up. And they are in the what they call the Video Game Hall of Fame, which I had no idea.
What?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I figure we'll spend a few minutes on
Okay.
it. Why not? Guy talk. It's what we do.
Enlighten me.
That's next as we're live from Twin Peaks and Tempe here on ESPN 620.
B on ESPN 620.
All right, that didn't go quite the way we wanted to go, but the idea was to hear this sound, play some of this sound, and take you back to your younger days. Go ahead, just play it over me, Connor. And the arcade shooter game, 1981, Defender. One of the best arcade games that I have probably put a couple $1,000s in.
Wow.
With quarters. that then, if you remember, Defender then it was Stargate.
Yes,
Came
I
in
remember
after Defender as a better Defender. And the World Video Game Hall of Fame announced that
Wait a minute,
it's heading in.
What?
Yeah, it's
World Video Hall of Fame?
yeah, I think it's in like somewhere in New York. Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
a Hall of Fame for video games? You mean like
So-
Atari?
Yeah, so these are classic stand-up video games. Not all the ones that they play now, where you put in a machine or you download or whatever. So Defender went in this year.
Okay.
Asteroids, which is one of the first, right?
Yes.
That went in last year. Miss Pac-Man went in 2022.
Wow.
Before 2021, others that got in: Pac-Man, Donkey Kong, Space Invaders, Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
My favorite game of all time, and I actually have it: the stand-up Galaga, Centipede, and Pong.
All right. I
So you know that I'm opening up, with some friends a refreshment stand.
Yes, you are.
So
I can't wait.
I am moving my Galaga,
Yeah.
Miss Pac-Man, which also has Donkey Kong and some other games.
Wow.
And it will be at this refreshment stand in North Scottsdale.
I'm looking forward to
And I'm debating: do I charge you $0.25 to play, or I try to make some money off you? Do I do free play for everybody, or just?
I think you should do free play
Yeah.
for maybe the first month.
Okay.
And then try to make a few bucks
Just-
after that.
So I'm figuring if it's free,
Yeah.
I could just basically get people to stay longer.
Sure.
Maybe have another beer or whatever.
Yeah. No, I understand that. But if you're charging them 50 cents or $1 to play it, I think.
No,
most
I
people
think
would
I don't
still
even
play.
know if I can change it in the
Turn your mic up,
machine
Jimmy.
to take more than a quarter.
Okay.
I mean, this is a long time ago. Again, this
Yeah, it is.
Galaga was what? 1981.
Okay.
I mean, the best games.
Yeah.
I don't care about the new
That's
generation,
better.
Connor or Jackson.
Yep.
The early 80s had the best games.
Yeah.
Pac-Man, Donkey Kong.
Yep. Centipede.
Galaga, Centipede.
Yep.
I mean,
I love
for you,
Centipede.
probably Pong,
Pong.
in 72.
I was a great
yeah,
Pong
I bet you
player.
were.
I was.
1972.
Great Pong player.
But there's a run of they made a run. Robotron was another game I played. But from 81, 82, 83, I think were the 3 years or that span where there were some of the best games.
Okay.
And I know our average listener is in their 40s, close to 50s. So they were in that era, before Intellivision and Atari, and then all of a sudden the Xboxes and all that.
Right.
Came out.
Yeah.
But the new games are too hard to play. Back then, it was like a joystick and a button.
That was it.
And it's all you needed, and it was fun.
Yeah.
Now you got to do all your homework. You got to figure out, you got 5 or 6 little buttons. I mean, I don't know how these guys do it, but we we've survived fine.
Jax, what's that goofy game that you always play?
Whoa! Don't call my game goofy.
What is it?
You're talking about Pong over there.
The one that you can just get on and there's like 1 million people playing it all at once.
Well, it's
What
called
is it?
Fortnite, but I play
Yeah.
Warzone, which is a completely
Warzone.
different
That's
game,
it. Yeah.
JB.
Okay.
You guys
Yeah.
haven't even experienced Nintendo DS or the Wii with Wii Sports.
All right, now I kind of got into a little
Mario Kart. You ever play Drinkio Kart or Beerio Kart?
bit. No.
Oh, you never
What
heard
is that?
of Beerio Kart?
Never even
So
heard of it.
You have each of your friends has a beer,
Okay.
and you have to finish the beer by the time the race is done.
What kind of race is it?
Like it's just Mario Kart. So each one's
Does it
got a
just
car.
go? Are you actually playing it?
Yeah, you're
Yeah,
playing.
it's
You're
Mario
playing,
And you have a beer in your hand?
and you have a beer, but you can't
That's
drink.
real smart. Let's
can't
drink it and drive it.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
You can't drink and drive is the catch.
Oh.
So you can race around. Some people go one lap and then chug the beer. But while you're chugging the beer, everyone's obviously racing too. But you have to finish the beer, and you try to have to finish first
Oh my
before your
God.
other players. Can't drink and drive.
What's the
So there's
visual?
strategy.
Yeah.
What's the visual?
It's just the Mario Kart. So I mean,
You got to tell me what that is. I don't know what
there's
the hell that
different
is.
lands. Like there's Rainbow World. It's just a bunch of different
It's a
courses and
racetrack,
stuff.
like
Yeah.
PIR. I mean, or is it a dirt track? What is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been giving you 4
Yeah,
different
come on,
ones.
fill us in.
Connor,
Be
help
more
me out
specific.
here. I don't know.
Why?
what to
You know how to play it?
I know, but it's hard to explain. There's different maps. Like it's a racetrack, but it's just a bunch of whether it's a Rainbow Road or
Rainbow Road, like rainbows? I don't play.
I'm
I'm not a big rainbow guy.
I got news for you. After the first lap, I'd probably be puking if I had to.
Well, no, it sounds like you can't drink and drive. So
Jimmy
it's
B.
It doesn't make any sense. This game makes no sense.
Coconut Mall. There's Waluigi Stadium. There's DK Summit. A bunch of different types of Mario.
Goes back to my point.
Yeah,
race courses.
Defender, Miss Pac-Man, and Pac-Man. All you have is the joystick.
Joystick.
Oh,
That's
you got to play with the controller. The controller's the way to go.
No.
Now
I mean, Defender. It was a little tough, but you think about it as Asteroids that came out in '79. That was one of the first that you had to
had to punch buttons.
You had to punch, but you had some work to do.
Yeah.
It was tough.
Yeah,
that's why I didn't like it. I wasn't very good at it. But now Galaga, I'll take anybody on with Galaga. I'll get 2 of those guns, and I am just on.
If
fire.
you have Pong at your refreshment stand when it opens, you and I'll play.
I don't think I'm going to have Pong. No. I'm going to have. I'll have Golden Tea.
Okay. Oh, Golden Tea. Okay. Yeah.
We'll kick ass.
Real
with
old
Golden
one.
Tea.
You have the executive course tee boxes for Jimmy B.
We'll have Golden Tea executive. Now,
Hey,
I will
what?
tell you this. I have
tees for Jimmy B.
I do have, if you want it.
Yeah.
I have a stand-up 99 Golden Tea.
Wow.
And that's with the ball.
Yeah.
The
That's
one
the one.
ball, and that's it.
That's
and a
it.
button.
That's
you
perfect.
You can't adjust your
that's
line
perfect.
or anything like that, your alignment or anything like that.
That's perfect for me.
And I don't even know that. It's just it's the graphics have changed so much. It's in a
I know.
short span of time.
Yep.
But there you have it. So I didn't even know there was a World Series of
a World Museum,
of
a Hall of Fame.
Yeah, not a World Series, a Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Video Hall of Fame
Good
game.
God.
It's pretty cool.
3 minutes.
They were
3
About
minutes.
5 years ago. I bet they got some of the coolest games. Anyway, that's all I have for this segment. You guys do the rest.
Okay, that's fine with me because I'll bring up something that, Rock, you would identify with immediately. And that is NBA basketball in the 80s, Dr. J playing for the Philadelphia 76ers, Rick Barry playing for the Golden State Warriors, and when Dr. J, I take that back, it is late 70s. You were alive then, just barely, but you were alive. They show up in San Francisco, the Sixers do, first time that we have an opportunity to go see Dr. J. In the game, and I've never forgotten this, in the game, Rick Barry goes for 55 points.
2 minutes.
Dr.
2 minutes.
J scores 37 in that game. The Golden State Warriors end up winning that game. At that time, you could not get a ticket. They were scalping out in front of the old Oakland Alameda arena there, where the Warriors used to play and then moved to San Francisco. And the joint was absolutely electric. Now, you're probably saying, well, why do you even reference that? Yeah. Well, here's why. Because now it seems like a guy like Dr. J, as great as he was in his time, gets no respect at all from recent NBA analysts or talking heads. His name does not come up when when the so-called greats are talked about. His name, for some reason,
1
has
minute.
been
1 minute.
left out of that conversit's just the way that it's rolled, and I don't know why that is.
I don't believe that.
Yes,
I mean, I grew up Dr. J being
he was the guy.
He was the guy. I mean, I have a huge Dr. J signed jersey. It's my favorite jersey I have.
Yeah.
I met him a few times. Manuch and I were fortunate enough to have him on our show one day.
Okay.
He was living in Atlanta very quickly. I'm not going to go down the memory lane like you, Jimmy. But in a nutshell, we're on the phone. He's on the phone with us doing the live interview, and we hear this meow, meow. Yeah, we're like, Doc, what's that in the background? Are you taking you got a cat? He goes, yeah, I got a cat. I have a Bengal cub.
What?
In our car, a Bengal cub.
Not a cat, a Bengal
Clear to
tiger
toss. Clear to
cub.
toss.
And obviously, I don't remember what was said after that, but to this day, I'll never forget Julius serving with a Bengal cat.
That's a great story.
While he's interviewing us.
That's a great story.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I loved him against Larry Bird.
Yep.
I mean, there wasn't anything better than that.
Yep.
So, speaking of the Celtics, are you Celtics fans? How are you reacting to these collapses? Is it the frustration more with the players, the coaches, or is it both? John Sapichetti from Boston, he is going to join us. But first, here's Jax, who has a Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update. This is Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B from Twin Peaks, Tempe.
Now time for your Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B's Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update. I'm Jackson Croft. The Arizona Diamondbacks kick off a long-awaited NL West slate tonight, finally meeting with their division rival, the Los Angeles Dodgers, for the first time this season. 38 games in. It's the latest start in division play in franchise history. Arizona now faces 13 straight NL West matchups, starting with 4 against the Dodgers at Chase Field. Brandon
30
Pfaadt
seconds.
takes them out tonight against Yamamoto, who leads MLB with a .9 ERA. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals rookie mini camp begins tomorrow in Tempe. The rookies checked in to the facilities earlier today and spoke with the media. This 3-day camp will have their first chance to work with coaches and teammates on the field. Pool moms love the Lodge, and this Mother's Day, show your appreciation by treating mom to all-day specials at any of your Valley Twin Peaks locations, including mimosas, sangria, and more. She deserves scenic views and a cold one. That's at Twin Peaks.
Life's a sprint, and you
It's Thursday, and welcome to Lodge Mentality. The guys are live at Twin Peaks Tempe, located in the Tempe Marketplace. Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge and home of the 29-degree beer, served in perfectly frosted 22-ounce mugs. Here's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
They're going to go. They're not going to use the timeout. Plenty of time here. It's Tatum. Robinson's on him. Tatum maneuvering. Oh, the ball left away. Another great defensive play for the Nets. They've got it. They've won it. New York has gone up 2 games to none. And defense again at the end.
Mikal Bridges, boy, do we miss him here in Phoenix. Thanks to TNT there as the Boston Celtics, of course, the reigning NBA champions, find themselves in an 0-2 hole against the Knickerbockers in the Eastern Conference semifinals as a result of 2 unprecedented collapses at TD Center. Join us now. Whenever there's something going on in Boston, we catch up with John Sapichetti. You can follow him on X at JohnSap25. Sap, what's going on with this, man? What are the fans? I was listening to some sports radio there today. It's a little nuts.
It's always Panic City in Boston, and if they won the 2 games in close fashion, it would still be panic because obviously it's the most neurotic sports fan base in America. And obviously when Boston plays New York, there's a little bit of apprehension because of the past. I mean, obviously the Yankees own the Red Sox for, 86 years and so on and so forth. And the Knicks have beaten the Celtics before. And of course, the Giants beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl. So sometimes when Boston sports fans see New York teams, they get a little jittery, but it's just been an incredible series so far. Maybe the Celtics think that they're playing live golf and it's only 3 quarters instead of 4 because in the 4th quarter, they have not shown up so far. They continue to play this brand of basketball as if they're down 20 instead of up 20, taking all those 3-pointers. They've taken 100 3-pointers in the first 2 games. They've hit 25. This is a team that averages 38% from 3. If they had been at that number, they would have won both of these games easily. And then you've got, obviously Joe Mazzulla, who is basketball's version of Nick Sirianni, the head coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, kind of this quirky, weird guy who overthinks things. Look, dude, you got the best roster in the NBA. Sirianni has the best roster in the NFL. Sometimes stay out of the way. The craziest thing I saw last night, guys, and maybe you'll agree with this, is hack of Mitchell Robinson. For what reason? And his reason was that Robinson was a plus 19, so they wanted to get him off the court. Well, if you're playing the LA Dodgers in the World Series and their number 9 hitter is hitting 400, do you intentionally walk him to get to Shohei Ohtani, who might be only hitting 200 in the series? That would be the theory behind what Joe Mazzulla did last night. So he's overthinking it. Just let the guys play. Do what you have to do to win. They're still the better team. I think they can still win, but give the Knicks a lot of credit for hanging in there all 4 quarters and coming away with 2 big wins.
So, John, when it comes to the fan base, is the frustration more with the players or the coaching, or is it both?
I think it's both, and that's not really the best answer to give on radio. I don't want like sitting on a picket fence because that can hurt some areas of your body. But I look at, in terms of Mazzulla, the fan base hasn't been totally sold on him. I think they had one of the 3 best coaches in basketball for 1 year at Ime Udoka. He had to leave for whatever reason. We still haven't found out. You see what he's done in Houston with a very young team. Mazzulla is constantly battling the media, doesn't answer questions that they ask him. He goes into like this mode of taking threes, and he turns everything into a math equation a la John Nash from A Beautiful Mind. I mean, it's just frustrating to listen to him at times. Jason Tatum is the one who gets the most blame, though. He's the best player. He has not played well in these first 2 games. He ended the series against Orlando averaging 35 a game over the final 3 games. He basically has owned the New York Knicks for several years, and for some reason, he just hasn't shot the ball well in the first 2 games of the series. That can turn around because the Celtics actually play better on the road than they do at home. So I would say Mazzulla's getting a lot of blame because of his end-of-game strategy or lack thereof. I mean, he ran the same exact play that they ran 12 seconds earlier. I don't ever recall an NBA team doing that. That's something out of high school. But Jason Tatum also gets a lot of blame because he's the best player on the team. And the thing about Boston, and if you guys have been here or watched anything here, Boston sports fans love like the gritty blue-collar guy.
Yeah.
Like they loved Marcus Smart, Trot Nixon, Julian Edelman. Jason Tatum is incredibly talented, aesthetically pleasing to watch, incredibly gifted. And sometimes it looks like he's not putting forth 100% effort. He is. I mean, he's that good. It's just that sometimes people think he doesn't care as much because he's not a real demonstrative guy. He's not going to, go back to the bench and kick a chair. He's a very cool, calm guy. but I think he's going to get some of the abuse. And the guy that always skates is Jaylen Brown because he's the second best player, and he was conference finals MVP a year ago. And he was NBA finals MVP a year ago. So he didn't exactly have a great game either last night. In fact, none of them did. None of them have been able to shoot.
John, one of the things I've noticed watching this series, and you referenced Tatum, at least he will indeed take the ball to the basket and try to draw some contact and get to the free throw line. But watching the rest of the team, that's like a big no-no. They all set up. I even saw Horford last night in the center of the lane. He is wide open from 4 feet away, and instead of turning and taking the shot, he kicks it outside to Peyton Pritchard, who misses the three-pointer. So my question to you is, I know that they're a great three-point shooting team, and they are the defending NBA champions. But wouldn't the head coach say something in the fourth quarter? Hey, let's take the ball toward the basket and try to get to the line?
Not Nick Sirianni. I mean, Joe Mazzulla, because what he does in that situation is he doubles down. He doubles down. He take more threes because we're due to hit them. It's all a math equation. I mean, maybe he should be selling life insurance instead of coaching basketball. So what he does in that situation is, well, we haven't hit our last 10. We're due to start getting hot from three-point territory. You remember the Houston Rockets had that theory back in, the 2018 Western Conference Finals against the Golden State Warriors? How'd that work out?
Yep.
So you make a great point because Horford's right there at the basket. 2 points guaranteed is better than a questionable three-point shot. Tatum will go to the basket. I think he's got an injured wrist, so maybe a little apprehensive to do that. They only went to the line 15 times last night while they were up 20 in the third quarter. You've got to drive the basketball to the basket and try to get to the line and just kind of build on that lead, or at least hold on to that lead rather than chucking up threes. And then the other team comes down, hits a three, and all of a sudden you've got this quick turnaround. And now
3 minutes.
that you shouldn't even be in. You should have handled this much easier. Derek White, who's a fantastic player, great role player. He and Drew Holiday make up a really fascinating backcourt because they're similar players. They both play great defense. They're leaders. They're great guys, team guys. He's taken 27 threes in the first 2 games of the series. He's hit 8 of them. I mean, Steph Curry doesn't take 27 threes in the first 2 games of a series. He's the greatest shooter ever. That part of me, I just don't quite understand. It is frustrating to watch. I mean, what are you going to do? Take away the corner three as part of a rule change? Make the dunk a three-point play? I mean, because the game is now turned into this three-point shooting contest, not just the Celtics, but throughout the league, that it is kind of frustrating to watch.
I'm with you on that. And here's what gets me about the way fans see it. And you talked about having the most neurotic fan base in the United States in the Celtics fans. And that is they get all upset because you referenced it, 15 free throws, where the other team is shooting 25 to 28. And fans see that stat and they go, what the hell? We're getting hosed by the officials. And the answer is no, you're not. You're not creating any contact to get to the line.
That's right. Yeah, you're not going to the foul line chucking up 28-footers.
Yep. Especially
the Knicks have been very good at staying out of their landing space so they don't get those ticky-tack fouls. Let them take the three. And the way they're shooting now, they're hitting 25%. That's a great number for the New York Knicks. Go to the basket. That's when you get to the line. I mean, whether it was James Harden in his prime, or any other player, Karl Malone, when he was a force years ago, they went to the line a lot because they were forcing their way to the basket. And this team is a good free throw shooting team. I mean, they're an 80% free throw shooting team. It's not like they have Mitchell Robinson, who somehow got hacked Robinson all last night. And when they did that, got
1 minute
into the penalty and into the bonus. So now when Jalen Brunson had that last second move, got fouled, he's going to the free throw line. If you hadn't hacked Robinson 3 times for no apparent reason, other than to get him off the court because he was a plus 19, which is, I got to say, the most idiotic thing I've ever heard, then maybe Brunson's not taking free throws at that time, and you've got fouls to waste down the stretch. It's just, again, he overthinks things. You have the better team. Go ahead and play. You just don't.
I want to get this
get
question.
Your hands into everything and make it even that much more difficult.
Okay, I want to get this question before we run out of time, because I heard you reference that they, meaning the Celtics, are a better team on the road. Why is that? And so does that still give everybody hope that they will at least get one in New York?
Absolutely. I think the reason they're a better road team is because at home, this building gets very, very tense. It certainly has in hockey over the last 15 years. I cannot tell you how many times the Bruins have lost Game 7 at home at TD Garden, oftentimes in overtime. They get down a goal, and the building gets very, very tense. Same things happen with the Celtics, that all of a sudden when, the first three quarters, they play very well. They're up 20. Everybody's celebrating, high-fiving. And then when it becomes a game, the crowd gets very tense, and I think that filters through to the players. On the road, it's a little bit different. They have a different mentality on the road. They have elite players. I mean, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are quite capable of putting up 35, 40 points in the next two games each at Madison Square Garden. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that. They play better on the road because I think the crowd here sometimes gets them too tight, which is not a good way to play basketball.
John, we always appreciate it. It's not what I think a lot of people expected, but it's only two games. So if it's three, then it's a lot different. But appreciate you coming on with us, John, as always.
Anytime, fellas.
Appreciate it. John Sapichetti, Boston writer, podcaster. You got to follow him on X, John Sap25. He's our go-to guy always when it comes to anything going on with Boston. All right, we're looking for someone brave, or at least mildly confident, to take on one of the gorgeous Twin Peaks girls from the Tempe location.
Mm-hmm.
Think you got what it takes? Prove it. Or go down in flames like the last guy. All right, B number 5. That's the caller we're looking for at 602-230-0620. That's 602-230-0620. And you're playing for a $25 Twin Peaks gift card. And you are going to pick Warriors at Timberwolves, Dodgers D-backs tonight, and Thunder at Nuggets. And we'll need the winner and score of that one. It's all next right here on ESPN.
Twin Peaks contestant takes on an ESPN 620 listener for 3 games. Get the most picks right. Win a $25 man card for one of the 5 Valley Twin Peaks locations: Scottsdale, Phoenix, Glendale, Tempe, and Deer Valley. Now, time for Peaks Picks.
All right, John in Tempe is going to challenge. Who were you talking to, Jax? I mean, you obviously got her to give you the predictions, but you couldn't get her to come on the air. Is that why? They're too busy, or what's?
Nervous.
Are you serious? She's nervous.
Yeah,
See, if you would have talked to her like when you got here at 12:30, and kind of got her warmed up, she would have been ready. You could have gave her all the information she needed and everything. So we're gonna have to do this without her, which, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch, we're on X, and it's always nice to see her.
People would be looking forward to seeing the young lady.
Yes, very
they
good,
would.
Jimmy.
Yes.
All right, so let's do this. All right, we got John and Tempe. Here's the first game: Warriors and Timberwolves. Hey, what's going on, John? How you doing today, man? Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, I'm disappointed she's not joining us. Come on.
I know.
We are too.
We're here, absolutely. All right, John. Who do you like? Who do you like in the Warriors Timberwolves? Who do you like in this game tonight?
I like Minnesota tonight. Yeah.
They're going to come back. All right, we'll got Minnesota there. How about, what did Katie go with?
Katie's going with the
Double
Timberwolves
digit, double digit win.
Double-digit win.
Okay.
Oh, you all right, John?
All right. I like that, John. Attaboy. Let's go to tonight's baseball game then. It is the Dodgers and the D-backs. It's the beginning of a 4-game series. What do you got, Guy?
I'll never root for the Dodgers, so give me the D-backs for sure.
Okay. John's going D-backs. Jax, what did Katie
Katie's
do?
going Dodgers.
She is. Okay.
See, I think that's a female thing. L.A., and she probably doesn't know anything about baseball. All right, last one, John, and we need to score in this one, all right? Thunder and Nuggets, winner and score. Thunder and Nuggets.
I think the Nuggets come back and respond. I'll do 114-112 Denver.
Okay.
Ooh,
That's a
good point,
great. That's
game.
great. Great game.
All
What did
right.
Katie do?
So she asked for my opinion on this one.
Uh-huh.
So I advised her to go Thunder 121-100.
Wow.
Blowout.
So couldn't get the number, couldn't get her to come on, but she asked for my opinion on the last one.
You asked for her phone number?
No, but,
Okay,
but she
you
didn't
said-
drop. She didn't drop.
Okay,
her phone number.
all right.
I can't be asking all the Twin Peaks girls for their number.
All right. Hey, John, thanks for listening, man. Good luck to you, man. That's John.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You
got
got
it,
John from Tempe.
There
Appreciate
you go,
that.
man.
Play
Yep.
for a Twin Peaks gift card. So, by the way, the ladies, I mean, they may not be able to show up sometimes,
Yeah.
but they're 20-9 when it comes to scoreboard.
It's amazing the run that they have had against our contestants.
Oh, man.
It's nuts. Absolutely nuts.
By the way, it's National Hamburger Month,
Woohoo!
and if you're searching for the best burgers in the game, find them here at Twin Peaks all month long. They're seasoned smashed, seared burgers, and are waiting to be discovered. You may not think about burgers when you think of Twin Peaks, but they do.
They're good.
Their food is really good here.
It is, yeah.
It's really, really good. So, good stuff there. Random fact of the day, Jimmy.
Okay, yep.
The only baseball player in the history of the game
Okay.
to hit a walk-off inside the park grand slam. It's one of the rarest feats
It is.
in baseball history, and it came from one of the game's all-time greats.
Can you give me a time frame without giving it away?
You were probably 15. I wasn't born yet.
No, you weren't.
That doesn't help you, does it?
No, it does.
I'll
gonna
say
go,
50s. I'll say 50s.
I'm going to go, if it's in the 50s, I'm going to go Willie Mays.
No. I'll give you the state
Okay.
that he played in.
Okay.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, Roberto Clemente.
Damn, I should say.
Yeah.
I meant to say Pennsylvania. I effed that up.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
yeah,
geez.
as soon as you said that, yeah, no, it's Roberto Clemente.
You know,
Probably
July 25th, 1956. How about that? A walk-off inside the park grand slam. I wish. Is there video on this?
Probably not. I mean, they were shooting black and white film in 1955 on TV.
It's so badass.
I know. He is
Man.
he to this day, to me, he is still the greatest right fielder of all time. He was absolutely sensational.
Wish I could have seen him play.
Yep.
That would have been pretty cool. But yeah, I just wow.
They talk about Willie Mays and the basket catches. He got that from Roberto Clemente, watching Clemente play.
Going back in the days, Major League Baseball announced today a former All-Star and World Series champion, Chet Lemon, passed away. He was 70 years old. He spent 16 seasons in the bigs, played for both the A's and the Tigers. He was part of that 1984 World Series team for Detroit. So our thoughts and prayers go to his
He was
family.
an excellent center fielder. Excellent center fielder. Yep. Always enjoyed watching him play. Had fun. You know, it's when you
5
go
minutes,
back
5 minutes.
and you find a guy like Chet Lemon who's just 70, and they didn't say what the cause of death was, but when you, in today's world with the modern medicine and the way everything is, 70 does not feel like that would be a death note.
Not at all.
Not anymore. Now it's over 85. That's the way that I look at it. So I'm lucky because I'm beating that right now. And it's probably because I hang out with you guys and you get me irritated, and it keeps me alive.
And all those ladies in Sun Lake.
Well, damn right.
You know, I mean, I can see you just walking in to the refreshment stand.
Yeah.
Because there's tons of them there, right?
Oh,
Sun
absolutely.
Lake.
Absolutely.
I mean, is there a lot of like happy hours? Are happy hours different for your age group? I mean, it's like 2 to 4 instead of like 3 to 6.
No,
I mean, is it like power hour, 1 to 2?
Power hour.
I mean, is that how it works there?
The best part is when you go in there and they're all around the bar and they might have something that's a little more low cut. Okay. Trying to see if they can get somebody's attention. I would love to walk up to some of them because it's an awful look and say, "Oh, I see you're a 38 long."
So you're more cognitive than most for your age.
I would think so.
I mean, obviously you're hosting a talk show.
I
So you're obviously a little bit more on.
I would think so.
Than some.
Yes.
So when does it get to the point? Because I feel it now that people that I hang out with that are older than I am, continue to tell me the same story over and over.
That is
so. I can only imagine
Yes.
that when you go to these establishments in Sun Lake,
Yes.
you hear a lot of the same stories.
Which is why I don't go very often, because here's your first tip: do not hang out with old people.
No, I like the stories. That's like, I'm a member at a golf course. And on Saturdays, I'm maybe one of the youngest guys.
Right.
And I love being a sponge and listening to these old guys tell their stories. The challenge is when you've heard it 4 times.
That's the key.
That's the part of it, but I don't know, you can't avoid that.
Well,
I
you
guess
can.
you gotta accept it.
You accept it, and you don't hang out there that often. Which
2.5
Which
minutes.
is what I
2.5.
do. I can only take a guy's story. Like, I'll go play. I have very limited amount of friends. Very limited. I'm tough to get along with, as you well know.
I don't agree with that. You're easy to get along with.
Why
you set yourself up like that?
If
you want me to come out there and kind of sell you a little bit,
that'd be good.
I can work it.
So I'm going to state here is that I don't have hardly anything in common with the people out there.
2
Hardly
minutes. 2
anything.
minutes.
Because my lifestyle throughout my adult life was so different than most of these people. They were insurance salesmen, corporation chairmen. That wasn't me. I was on television. I'm a man who wore makeup for 40 years.
Yeah.
So I lived I
get that.
I lived a totally different lifestyle, an athletic lifestyle that a lot of these people didn't lead.
Yeah, the biggest difference, I think, when I talk to some of these older gentlemen, I love being a sponge. I really do.
Yep.
Is they were at one place for a long
Yes,
time.
that's the other thing. Yeah.
And I do love the guys that you run into that are in their early 60s that have retired.
Yeah.
And what's interesting is, me, I've had 100 jobs just like you have being in this industry, but they've been at the same. They've been at Intel for 30 years or Xerox or GE or whatever, and they had such amazing benefits and 401ks, and that enabled them to retire early and be a member of a golf club.
That is correct.
So there's a part of that I'm like, damn, I'm not retiring.
No, but what they don't have the experiences that you and I have.
Okay, but
we have unique experience.
But that's all relative. That's all relative. You could be a GE. My father was GE, part of aerospace, dealing with space shuttles and satellites. That's pretty unique.
It is unique.
He was
Yes.
in one place for
30
50
seconds.
years.
Well, see, I can't do
For
that.
30. Anyway. Hey, Tom Brady admits that he effed up. We got the sound. Let's just say he's not sugarcoating it. We'll have that coming up, as well as Howard Balzer joins us to talk about the latest on Kyler Murray and the wide receiver search and what this front office is doing or not doing
10 seconds.
since the draft. It's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620, live from Twin Peaks, Tempe.
ESPN 620, Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B.
All right, D-backs, they limp into a critical series with the Los Angeles Dodgers as they are in town. We're out here at the Twin Peaks in Tempe, and there are more Dodger fans here than there are D-back fans. We got a bunch of guys at the bar. They're all wearing Kershaw jerseys. Oh, please. Can Arizona's offense finally wake up? or is the National League West already slipping away? I don't think it's the case. It's a long season. But right now they sit one game over 500. They already trail the Dodgers by 6 games. This is a pretty big series. I mean, if they get swept, it's not going to end the season. But if they can split, it's going to be good. But if they can take 3 out of the 4, it's great.
Yes.
It would be great.
Yes.
I don't expect a sweep, but it'd be great to take 3.
It would be perception. Perception is everything, okay? So instead of this losing slide that they have and the awful taste by losing to the Mets yesterday, if they were indeed able to even get a split, it would be a sign of hope. If they go 1-3, it's disaster. If they go 3-1, well, hey, they're right back in the hunt here. We got a really good team. So that's the way this series is going to play out against the Dodgers.
Problem with the Dodgers, at least for D-back fans, if they've won 8 out of 10. They're playing pretty well.
Yep.
And then on the other side of this weekend, you have a San Francisco team that's won a couple in a row. They're only a game and a half out, tied with the Padres for a game and a half out. The Padres have lost to Rockies, man. This is I feel bad
for the Rockies.
6 wins on the season. They've
Yeah.
lost 5 straight. I mean, 6 wins. The White Sox only have 10. The biggest disappointment this year, I think, in baseball has got to be the Baltimore Orioles.
I agree with that 100%.
They're out of it.
And everybody had penciled them in as
did too.
a playoff team.
I did. There was a lot of hype going into
There
the
was.
season.
Yep.
Another disappointment, I think, the Minnesota Twins. I thought they were going to be one of those teams that was going to start kind of,
trending in
that direction. But right now, when you look at the standings in the National League West, it's the Dodgers up by a game and a half over the Padres and the Giants. D-backs are 6 out. Of course, Colorado, nothing there. Now, the Central, I think, is going to be very interesting. And it tends to be each and every year. But this year in particular, because the Chicago Cubs, they're 3 games up on the Reds, Brewers, and Cardinals. Cardinals start off so slow. They're kind of making some noise now. And then you got the Pirates, which they fired their manager today.
Yep.
We go to the National League East. We just got a chance. We got a chance to see the Mets. We know how strong they have been. The Phillies, I can't figure out. They go on a little run. They win a bunch of games, and then they can easily get
Then they
beat.
drop 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but they're 2 games out. Then the Braves, they're under 500. Washington tied with them under 500. Miami Marlins are where we thought they would be in the cellar. Then we go on into the American League, and the Red Sox Yankees. Good. It's great for baseball.
It is. Absolutely.
Love seeing these guys go at it. The Yankees are up by 2, followed by the Rays, Jays, and the Orioles, as we mentioned, in the cellar.
And you know what's going to happen as soon as ESPN starts to play starts to show, I should say.
Sunday.
On Sunday Night Baseball, Yankees, Red Sox, everybody's going to start complaining. Why are you so? Well, because they're both contending for the top spot in the AL East. That's why.
The suits are crossing their fingers.
They
if
are.
That's the case.
Yep.
The Central Tigers up by 2 games on the Guardians and Royals. Then, of course, the Twins and White Sox. And then the AL West, surprisingly, the A's are only 3 games out, right behind the Mariners. The Astros are only 500. Rangers a little disappointment right now. And the Angels, I thought they were going to be somebody to contend with.
Oh, Mike Trout's hurt again.
It's amazing how much
He's
gets
hurt, Rock, the entire season after season after season. It never fails. And it's just a shame. He still is one of the very best players in all of baseball, and he cannot stay on the field. Awful. Just awful.
It really is. And I don't know if that's going to continue. Can he go a year without getting hurt? Because
No.
I think arguably he's one of the best
players
in the game if you can get an opportunity to see him.
Yeah.
But man, I don't know. I just it's frustrating because I just don't get it.
They invested all of that money in him, and rightfully so. The talent level is there, but he just cannot stay healthy.
Some other news here locally, and we don't normally talk a lot about the Mercury, but I just want to pass this along because I'm a big Matt Ishbia fan. And what he did today is he revealed a $2 value menu. which is an initiative that he started last year. So the cost of a hot dog, which is normally $9, is 16-ounce Dasani water, which is normally $8.50. Fountain drinks, they're $6.50. Chips are $7. Popcorn are $7. Are now reduced to $2 each. The only thing, I love it. Diamondbacks are one of the first to do the value meals.
Yep.
I don't think it's going to make a difference.
Oh,
I don't think people are not going to Mercury games.
Oh, because of the $2
cost.
menu?
No.
Okay.
I just think the WNBA is what the WNBA is.
Well, look,
I know you and I don't agree with this because you like women's sports. I don't.
I know you don't, but I'll just say this. At the University of Iowa this past weekend, where Caitlin Clark and the Fever played, just a second, where Caitlin Clark and the Fever played a national team from Brazil and won by 78 points or whatever it was. The game's price, the average price to get in was $400. And on television on ESPN, even with the blowout, the game drew 1.3 million people. Now, here's what I'm going to say, is that she is a gold mine for the WNBA. And unfortunately for you, Rock, you're going to have to put up with it every once in a while. When the Indiana Fever come into town, that ticket price is going to shoot right through the roof.
Care less.
I know you could care less, but it is an event when she happens to show up. I will say this.
Circus comes into town, once a year.
Yeah, that's the same deal.
Yeah,
same
exactly
deal.
what
It's
it is.
an event. That's
but
it.
it's a league that is basically can't stand on its own.
I agree.
If it didn't have the NBA subsidizing it,
that's right.
If the NBA, if the WNBA is so great,
3 minutes.
I didn't say that.
No, this is what I'm saying. It.
Okay.
Then why is it that the average person that's been playing 3 years in the league makes $78,000 a year?
Because they never made any money. That's why. But they might this year.
But it's forced down our throats on ESPN and SportsCenter.
That rubs me raw just like it rubs you.
It does.
It does.
See, that's surprising.
No, it rubs me raw that they do force it down your throat. Yes. I don't like that aspect of it at all. Let me go back to the $2 menu quickly before I forget my train of thought with Matt Ishbia, because I'm old and that stuff happens. Yesterday on the show, I mentioned the fact about the new GM in Brian Gregory. And when we had a couple of yucks about his press conference and how often he used a line. But what Matt Ishbia has done, and I know he's taking heat.
2 minutes.
And
2
rightfully
minutes.
so. He's the owner of the team. But I tip my cap to him for coming in, buying the team, taking big swings in an effort to put the Suns on the map almost immediately. It just didn't work. It failed. So now you are going to have to try to do it a different way. The other thing that I want to say about Matt Ishbia is that, and he has stated this, he says the money will come. All right, so what does he do? He comes up then with the $2 menu when you go to the games. And you read off what the prices were originally, $9 for a hot dog, $7 for a drink. It's all now $2 when you go to the game. And I'm with you. Is that going to bring people to a Mercury game? No. But at least the people that go will understand that the owner of the Phoenix Mercury is attempting to make it an enjoyable experience while you're at the arena.
Yeah, I mean, if it helps, $2, I don't know how
minute.
you pay your bills if you're selling. I mean, you're losing money. I mean, the league doesn't make any money now. Now you're gonna sell a $9 hot dog for $2.
Right.
That hot dog probably costs more when you add the labor, the wrapper, the condiments, everything else that comes with
Agreed.
it. But that's why we're doing this,
And he's doing that.
And
And he's a billionaire.
that. Yeah. So, man. Well, Tom Brady admits to effing up. We're going to play some of that sound next. And then coming up, Howard Balzer will join us to answer this question. Why didn't Arizona go harder for a proven wideout like George Pickens? It's all coming up next right here on ESPN 620 from Twin Peaks, Tempe.
It's Thursday, and welcome to Lodge Mentality. The guys are live at Twin Peaks Tempe, located in the Tempe Marketplace. Twin Peaks, the ultimate sports lodge and home of the 29-degree beer, served in perfectly frosted 22-ounce mugs. Here's Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620. Time for today's AI's Playful Parodies. We're bringing you the funniest AI takes on your favorite sports moments, exclusively on Roc and Manuch.
Sounds so low.
You've been warned. These are parodies, and we've edited them to the best of our ability.
All right. As you heard there, AI parodies.
Okay.
Something we've started a few weeks ago after late nights of watching TikTok. And
you need a life.
I do. You don't understand. TikTok for me is like probably.
Is that your
you
drug?
playing shuffleboard in sunlight?
I never play shuffleboard.
Just relaxing, right?
No.
Are you hanging out with those ladies? TikTok, you get a lot out of it. And I started sending them to Jax, and Jax likes them. I'm trying to be cool with the younger demographic,
I
right?
get it. I can
and I know I
identify.
send some of them to Jax. He's like, "That's funny."
At like 1 a.m., 2 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, he gets them at weird times, but he gets them. So we have Jason Tatum here.
Okay.
The Justin Tucker one's pretty good.
Okay.
And Steve Kerr. So where do you want to go with this, Jax?
Yeah, let's start with Jason Tatum talking about how the Knicks are his new daddy after the first 2 games being down. Here's Jason Tatum.
The Knicks are my daddy now, and I can hear the whispers. I know everyone wishes my name was Jalen, After my epic choke job again tonight, you will no longer refer to me as Jason Tatum. Henceforth, you will refer to me as just kidding, Tank Bum. Steve Kerr knew better than to play me in the Olympics after I built the Great Wall of China in the finals last year with all my bricks. And now you all see why again, just like when LeBron made me the only Celtic to botch a 2-0 series lead in history back in 2018. This series, I'm shooting 28% from the floor and 30% from 30 again, and just gave the Knicks both games in my house. Just kidding, Tank Bum. Remember the name and I'll never disappoint you.
It's awesome.
That is unbelievable.
I mean, it's just so creative.
I like that.
you
I
know?
like that. Building the Great Wall of China with the bricks that I shot in the Olympics. That was great.
All right.
great.
Now, we all know about Justin Tucker. He got released.
Yeah.
Got released, right? And this was from a press conference that they kind of had fun with, like, last year.
Yeah, it's a press conference they had last year, and it's so funny with the AI parodies and stuff because it's him talking, and it also sounds like he's actually saying it. So this is Justin Tucker talking about, I almost said Justin Tucker, or you could say Justin Tugger, talking about him being released.
The Ravens finally released me. That's probably not the best word choice because getting releases is why I'm being released. But I do love being released, especially on the tables by China women for $40 and a scratch off in the back of a strip mall. Getting tugs is my birthright. That's why my last name is Tugger. But it looks like Tucker, the Tugger, is going to be kicking for the Cleveland Browns next year. It's not the happy ending I was hoping for, but maybe me and Deshaun Watson can get a 2-for-1 deal when we get tugs now. And the Ravens said they released me because my kicks were flat and that I couldn't get it up anymore. That really rubbed me the wrong way. Ask any masseuse within a 60-mile radius of Baltimore, and they'll tell you getting it up was never my problem. It was asking for permission. In other news, I just bought my own Massage Envy franchise, so this will never happen again.
That is awesome.
No, I
That
will
is
tell you,
funny.
we've had a lot of them. If we do like an end of the year top 10,
that's got to be it.
It's up there.
Yeah.
The innuendos, they're awesome.
They're unbelievable.
Outstanding.
He and Deshaun Watson in Cleveland could get a 2-for-1.
All right, last one. What's the Steve Kerr?
Yeah, Steve Kerr talking about, this isn't true. I just want to preface that to Warriors fans who are listening to this. But this is him saying that Steph Curry's out for the rest of the playoffs. He's out for 1 week at least. But this is Steve Kerr talking about him hypothetically getting the news that Steph Curry would be out for the rest of the playoffs.
Steph's MRI report just came out, and unfortunately, he will be out for the rest of the playoffs. Doctors said that he's good to play, but to be honest, Steph spoke to me earlier before the game and told me that he's planning to fake an injury because he wants to join LeBron, Diddy James, and Luka in Cancun. He said that we don't have a chance to win that series anyway. I mean, he's been working really hard, and I think I owe it to him to go and have some fun in Cancun. Our roster is weak as anyway, so it doesn't really matter if Steph plays or not. Bummy Hield is on and off. Sometimes he shoots like prime Steph, but most of the time he shoots like Kevin Looney can barely run, and Jimmy Butler already lost his butt after his recent tailbone injury. I think he should change his name to Jimmy Buttless instead. It's just a disaster. Hell, I need to head to Cancun myself. It's been very stressful coaching those Warriors bums recently, and I need a vacation. I want to get a chance to try out.
Oh, God.
Isn't that great?
I'm crying. I am crying. This is way too funny.
They're good.
Way too funny.
Yeah, that's, again, those are just AI, and
Yep.
we docker them up pretty good.
Jimmy Buttless. Okay.
So, Tom Brady, this is breaking news. Tom Brady isn't great at everything.
Okay.
In fact, he just admitted to a pretty major parenting mistake.
Uh-oh.
His 2024 roast.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently,
I remember that.
his
Yeah.
3 kids, he's got a 17-year-old, a 15-year-old, and a 22-year-old, and they were not cool with it.
Okay.
In fact, when he spoke to them the next morning, they asked, what was the point of that? Because they all got to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And here's what he had to say about it, this being Tom Brady.
I regret that my kids, it's tough on my kids for sure. I love laughing at myself. It felt like I was in the locker room, but I do understand, like, for my kids, that was really hard. There's some things as a parent you don't realize until after. There's no perfect manual for it. You got to evaluate yourself as a parent too all the time. So even though I really enjoyed the show, and when you were in that moment in that theater that night at the Forum, like, it was electric. We got done. Everybody was on cloud nine. And I think that moment I'll never forget. And then I'll never forget when I talked to my kids the next day, I felt like a stake through the heart.
I find that to be absolutely honest and true. I have 2 boys. I made mistakes parenting with the television business that I was in, and it put them in tough spots sometimes in schools. So I can identify with what he is saying. And his kids, the 22-year-old, not so much, but he's gone. He's either in college or he's out of college. The other 2 are still in school. And you know how ruthless kids can be.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely ruthless. And in today's world, with all of the online stuff that they do, it could just be terrible. So I can identify with what he just spoke about. Absolutely.
Charles Barkley isn't afraid to speak his mind. We know that. Earlier this month, President Donald Trump sat down with Nick Saban to discuss the current state of college sports. And it's no secret that name, image, and likeness has basically impacted college basketball and football. We know that. Mm-hmm. The guidelines that the NCAA have intact right now, in a lot of people's opinion, has damaged the product. And the presidential commission has been created by the president to study college sports and maybe try to find the root of the program. I know many of you don't want sports and politics to get involved, but I think college football, college basketball, and the NIL is so messed up. If the NCAA can't figure it out, maybe somebody else can.
I'm with you on that.
And if it's Nick Saban is heading it, I'm all right with.
Okay.
I mean,
yeah.
So Charles Barkley was on with Don't At Me. It's a podcast by Dan is it Dakich?
Oh, Dan Dakich.
Dakich, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And he was talking about NIL today.
Okay.
And Barkley's not a big fan, as
Right.
I'm not. In fact, he's so against it that he refuses to give money to his alma mater.
Wow.
He just gave $10 million to the HBCUs instead.
Historic black colleges, yes.
He goes,
2 minutes,
he
2
goes-
minutes.
He goes, I gave millions of dollars and in my hometown of Birmingham to rebuild houses, things of that sort. That's the stuff I want to do. Mm-hmm. And he basically went on and just started ripping college football, college basketball. We'll play some of the sound tomorrow when we have time on the show.
Okay.
But, you know, he goes, I can't imagine if players in the NBA got to be free agents every year. Because I'm not opposed to players getting paid. Mm-hmm. I want to make that clear. But this notion, we got to give college kids tens of millions of dollars a year, and basketball is worse because you're only going to get a great player for 6 months. I don't see how you're going to get the return on your investment.
I'm with him 100% with that statement. And here's who it's really tough on. It's tough on the fans. The fans used to have an opportunity to identify with a particular player, whether if it was football or basketball, for a couple of seasons at least.
Yeah.
And now that is not the case. They are hired guns, and they come in, collect
1
their
minute.
paycheck, and play, and then go to the next school as a hired gun. There's no closeness with the fan bases anymore. There is no more student athlete. That is a thing of the past. Everybody is paid to play.
But that's just a few sports.
Correct. Yes. Well, the biggest ones of football and basketball.
They're the revenue
and
sports.
They are the revenue sports.
I mean,
yes.
baseball is a little bit of a revenue sport.
Depending on which school you're at.
Yeah. But, you know, what do you say to the tennis player?
I
What do
know.
you say to the wrestler? You know, what do you say to swimming? That's the part that I don't think we're overlooking it.
Mm-hmm.
I think many of you that were college athletic or were in college athletics, I was on the team side of it. I worked in the SID office and I saw these kids.
Clear to toss.
I was jealous
Yeah.
because they were on scholarship,
right?
But I wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
So I mean,
You understood it.
I understood it.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is when I was at Penn, all those athletes, they didn't give scholarships there. They didn't do athletic scholarships in the Ivy League.
That's correct.
So that's
They
so
still
much
don't.
different. Yeah. Hey, up next, Cardinal Insider Howard Balzer. He'll join us to answer what every fan's asking. At least I think a big bulk of fans. Why isn't Arizona in the conversation? Why didn't they go after a proven wideout like George Pickens? And does this softer 2025 schedule actually give the Cards a legitimate shot at making the playoffs? But first, here's Jax with your latest Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update.
It's now time for your Rock and Manuch with Jimmy B, Twin Peaks ESPN 620 update. I'm Jackson Croft. The Arizona Diamondbacks kick off a long-awaited NL West slate tonight, finally matching up against the LA Dodgers, first time of the season. Brandon Pfaadt will take the mound against Yamamoto, who leads the MLB with .9 ERA. The Diamondbacks are 19-18. Looking to capitalize on some NL West matchups, 13 straight, including 4 this weekend against the Dodgers at Chase Field. Meanwhile, the Arizona Cardinals have started rookie minicamp tomorrow, but they've checked in the facilities today and will be talking with the media. Guys like Will Johnson and Cody Simon have also talked as well. The 3-day camp marks
15.
the first chance for them to work with coaches and teammates on the field. Cool moms love the Lodge. And this Mother's Day, show your appreciation to treating your mom with all-day specials at the Twin Peaks, including mimosas, sangria, and more. She deserves scenic views in a cold one. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
National Football League for close to 50 years. A longtime NFL writer, broadcaster, and co-host of the Pro Football Hall of Fame show on Sirius XM. A Hall of Fame voter, Howard Balzer. Now on Roc and Manuch with Jimmy B on ESPN 620.
All right, Howard Dahl joins us. Talk some NFL football, Cardinals specifically. Howard, are you surprised that we didn't hear or see anything regarding the Cardinals maybe making a move to be involved in the George Pickens deal?
I'm not surprised. I mean, it's interesting because, I'm getting ready. Next week's my big pilgrimage to Birmingham, Alabama for the 33rd year.
Wow.
Hard to believe.
Yeah.
Going down there every week to do Lindy's Pro Football magazine. So I talked with the Steelers writer yesterday after the deal was made, and we have a little thing on each team that has a key loss and a key addition. One player, right? And so he had someone else for the key loss, and I said, do you want to change it? Because we still have some time here. Do you want to change it to Pickens instead of the other guy? And he says, no, him leaving is addition by subtraction. And so I think that, there's certain guys that let's just put it this way, very simply. George Pickens is the antithesis of what the Cardinals want in their locker room and the type of guys that they want. He has tremendous ability. But obviously there's a reason that the Steelers are willing to trade him. And, the Cowboys don't care about that stuff. They're just all about glitz and glam and, and all those things. So they just figure, hey, we'll bring in somebody in and we're going to change him, right? We're going to make him a different guy. Well, all power to them. If they can do that, so be it. But he's also entering the last year of his contract. And so there are all those issues. I'm not surprised at all. And like I said, I would agree with the Cardinals that he's just not a fit for what this team is trying to put together and has been doing for the last 2 years since Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon came here.
Didn't they already come out and pretty much say that he was just a one-year guy and that's it?
Who, the Cowboys?
Yeah, the Cowboys, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe they did. I don't. Maybe they. I mean, that makes it even more ridiculous.
Yeah.
If they're admitting it's a 1-year guy. I mean, they gave up a 3rd-round pick next year, and so we'll see how it plays out. Maybe they're just saying that maybe that'll be the case. And George Pickens, he might be on his best behavior because he knows that he's playing for a new contract, and it's a pretty good place to go in that regard. With CD Lamb there and Dak Prescott and. Pretty good offense. So, we'll see, but I'm sure I would think, well, and you never know with the Cowboys, obviously, because they just paid, they just paid CD Lamb, they paid Dak Prescott. And so they're certainly not going to be in the market for let's say a market contract for a top wide receiver. I would think that would not be the case, after this season.
How confident do you think this coaching staff is in building a pass-first identity around Kyler, especially when you're looking at who's the number 2 receiver, who's the number 3 receiver? Do you think this staff is aligned? That seems to be the word this week in Arizona sports.
How many times did Brian Gregory say aligned in that press conference the other day?
Yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, wake up. Sorry, Jimmy just fell asleep. We just woke him up.
I'm aligned with my sleep.
Yeah, I mean, you feel. I mean, pass first identity, right? That's what we're going into this season, correct?
A pass first identity for the Cardinals? No,
Yeah.
I don't.
No?
I think there's just going to be. No, I don't think they're going to be pass first. I think they're going to be what they've been, which is it's just balance in the offense. And and I would argue. Everyone says, well, it's run first. Well, you do what you're going to do, what you feel will work against the other team, and it doesn't mean they don't expect the passing game to be better and improve with Marvin Harrison Jr. in his 2nd year and, a lot of other things. And, but I don't know that I don't know that they expect it to be pass first. And I think they're just going to continue with what they've built and what this offense has been for the last couple of years, headed by James Conner with the ability to pass and having the ability to have play action and Kyler Murray running a bit more. And that's that we can see even that as being more, part of the offense. So, I think we we fall into these narratives sometimes about run first, pass first, balance, whatever it might be. But you go into a game figuring, hey, we're gonna do these things because we think it gives us the best chance to win that football game.
Howard Balzer's our guest on the Right Toyota guest line. Howard, take me then to the NFC West. And for me right now, I have the Rams on top, and then I have the Cardinals and the 49ers battling for that second and third spot. I have Seattle as the last team. Am I all wet on that, or do you see it similar?
Are you been hacking my computer?
I read your columns all the time. So,
well, I say that with my computer because with all the stuff I'm putting together with Lindy's, we get these team previews and the writers, put ratings on each unit, and then I add them up, and then that's how we end up ranking the division. And that's exactly how the NFC West fell in terms of the total rating numbers. Now, let me say this. There's not a whole lot of difference in the points for teams. I mean, they all fall a lot of times around the mid-60s when you add up the different positions, and the team that's in first might have 1 point or 2 at most better than second, and on from that. And so that's exactly the way it fell in the NFC West. And then I was looking at some betting odds that I put in the magazine, which I have to write a story which predicts everything for Super Bowl and all that. And that one did have the 49ers ahead in the betting odds of the Rams. The 49ers ahead of the Cardinals with the Rams in first place. But for whatever reason, there's this fascination with the 49ers in the betting odds. I mean, they're one of the top. They're like 5th or 6th to win the Super Bowl, which to me just is way out of line. Now, I'm not saying they don't have talent, but they've lost talent on that defense. They've lost talent on the offense with Deebo Samuel. You don't know what the health of Brandon Ayuk is going to be. Can Christian
3 minutes
through an entire season? So I think there's a certain amount of belief. Oh, well, the 49ers has had one of those down years and they're just going to bounce back and be great again. Well, I'm not saying that can't happen, but I'm not so sure that it will. But I do see the NFC West, and the odds there, fell very, very close. And then if you look at the over/unders, for regular season wins, it's very close there. I mean, I think the Rams were at like 9.5, and the Cardinals and the 49ers are at 8.5, and Seattle's at 7.5. So that's how close those are. Not that it necessarily means anything, but that's the perception of what outsiders believe.
Do we expect any primetime or nationally televised games?
I think there definitely will be. I mean, there were last year, and I think maybe there'll be a couple more. I mean, there's certainly going to be a Thursday game. There'll probably be a Monday game. Big question is, will there be a Sunday night game? And with some of the teams they're playing,
2 minutes.
But I would expect from the way they improved last year and what is expected from them with Murray and Connor and Harrison and McBride, that I think there's the possibility, and it'll be announced next Wednesday. I think there's a possibility of 3, who knows, maybe even 4 primetime games with the way it all plays out.
What number do you have it at when it comes to strength of schedule, or the 4th easiest is what I've heard? I don't know how they come up with that stuff, but where do you have a number with that?
Here's the one thing. I'll have that better for you next week because I don't have it in front of me.
That's
but one of the things I do in the magazine, we have division previews. And I've always thought the whole strength of schedule, it's one number, and obviously it's based on a team's record last year. But all they do is add up the total of the wins and losses that a team is playing. Well, I split it up. I split up strength of schedule.
About 1 minute.
And if you're in a hard division and your division won a bunch of games, well, that's going to skew your overall strength of schedule to be harder because you're playing 6 games against those teams in the division. But then I break it down to the other 8 teams that, of the 2 divisions that each team plays. And then the other 3, they're not wild card games, but the other 3 games. And, and what's the strength of schedule there? The type of teams that you're playing. And so I think that really breaks it down and gives a much better view of what, a team's schedule is. And a lot of times how teams do break down to how those 8 games that are the same. I mean, basically, I'm trying to remember which divisions the Cardinals play this year. than the NFC West plays. But every team in the division plays the same 8 games. Another full division in the NFC and another full division in the AFC. And so, how do those play out? Home and away can have an impact on that. But those are the games a lot of times that make a difference. And if you happen to be matched up against 2 really tough divisions, that makes your schedule harder. If you're matched up against 2 not very good divisions, then it certainly makes it easier. And so those are all things that impact, what the next season could very well look like.
Jackson sent us a note here saying that the Cardinals will play the NFC South and the AFC South. That's the divisions that they will play. Are those teams are not as good as in those divisions as in other divisions.
No, exactly. I mean, last year, the Cardinals played, in the NFC, they played the NFC North, and that was the best division in football last season. And so, those 2 divisions, when you look at it, I mean, what's Carolina going to be? What's New Orleans going to be? What's Atlanta? Tampa Bay is the favorite there. The AFC South,
Clear to break when you're ready.
you've got big question marks about Indianapolis, Jacksonville, and Tennessee right now. Looking at their roster, they might be the worst team in the NFL. So that bodes well for the Cardinals. But every other team in the Cardinals division plays all those teams also. And so that's a big factor in how well, usually how teams will do.
Howard, thank you. Safe travels as well. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good, guys. Take care.
That's Howard Balzer, Balzer 721, Sirius XM NFL Radio, Cards Wire, USA Today, does it all. Appreciate him taking some time. He's brought to you today by All City Towing, the largest towing company in the state, in a place where your career can get a serious boost. They're hiring now dispatchers, call takers, lot attendants, drivers, customer service pros. Enjoy set schedules, top-tier towing equipment, health benefits, a 401k with an employer match, paid life insurance, and even a monthly fuel allowance. Sound good? Take the next step. Visit allcitytowing.com. All City Towing, where your future is on the move. Coming up, our Learner Row One Call, That's All. We'll take a look at what's on tap tonight and reveal the results of our State 48 Roofing It's Your Call question of the day.
call, that's all call of the day. If you're looking for a full-service law firm, just make one call, that's all. 602-977-1900. Lerner and Rowe, voted Arizona's best law firm.
I think this defense, allows me to use all my skill sets, being able to play a variety of coverages and the way they play their DBs and their linebackers and just their whole scheme and as a whole just allows me to make those plays you saw me make in college. So
this next clip will be the Walter Nolan one, Jax.
And I just got to go out there and get comfortable in the scheme and go out there and do it. Well, it was a lot of ties to it. I mean, one of my teammates that I was at with Michigan, he was from Memphis. And Walter obviously was a big name coming out of high school, and we were trying to get him at Michigan. So now it's kind of the front runner for our class. So I was just trying to do whatever I can to get him to come to Michigan. So I've done things like when we were in high school, I went down to Martin Luther King High School, and he was thinking about coming to Detroit to go to high school. So I went down there with him just to get him acclimated to that type of scene. He visited Michigan a bunch of times, and we hung out. So we know each other well. We just didn't get to go together.
It's Arizona Cardinals second-round pick, cornerback Will Johnson. He's expressed some strong motivation to prove to the teams that passed on him that they were wrong. He's also, of course, he was a potential first-round pick. That is why he's doing that. So he's aiming to make an immediate impact on this Cardinals defense and validate the organization's decision.
Rock, if he can stay healthy,
yeah,
he will be an absolute star if he can stay healthy.
That's kind of what you hear, right?
Yep.
A lot.
He's got all the tools.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, that is our Lerner and Rowe one call. That's all. Interact, need a check? Make that one call at 602-977-1900 and always at lernerandrowe.com. All right. Tonight, what's on tap? Brought to you by the Roc and Manuch Amber, brewed by Dos Equis.
Mm-hmm.
You got the Western semifinals, the Warriors at the Timberwolves. That will tip off at 5:30 on TNT. When it comes to NHL playoffs, Game 2, Hurricanes and Washington to take on the Caps. That's at 10 minutes on ESPN. Western second round, Game 2. Oilers at the Vegas Golden Knights, 6:30 on ESPN. And here locally, the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks on the mothership, Arizona Sports 98.7. And, of course, on TV, on DBACS.TV and Cox Channel 34.
So are you going to be dialed in then to the 60th Academy of Country Music Awards?
Well, that's why I put it on the lineup. That's on at 5 o'clock.
I'm asking if you're going to watch it.
Yeah, I'm actually really big into country music. So never was until I moved here, and I used to hate it.
Okay.
And then maybe 20 years, I don't know, maybe 10 years, started going to Prescott for July 4th in the rodeo.
Okay.
With a bunch of buddies.
Yeah.
And I realized how cool it is to be in that environment, and something you should have tried.
What's that?
When you were younger.
What, being a rodeo clown?
No, cowboy boots. I got to tell you, when I put on those cowboy boots back in 1995,
it changes your whole
badass. I feel like a badass. I mean, I'm already 6'2".
Yeah,
I mean, Jax, you're in Montana. You probably have boots, right?
I could never know. I'm not a cowboy boot guy.
I don't have a pair. I only wore them like a couple times. I remember going to Denim and Diamonds, which was a bar out here many years ago.
Yeah.
And Thursday night, dollar beers, whatever it was. But man, I used to. My roommates, I'm like, hey, dude, can I wear your boots? Ladies like the boots. I can't two-step.
Here's a quick story. I moved from doing television sports in San Francisco to Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
A guy who is a West Coast guy, really cool, really funky, moves to Texas and starts to work at a television station there. I've been on the air roughly maybe 2 months tops. And I'm downtown and I got done at a luncheon and a guy comes over from the luncheon and I've forgotten his name and says, my name is Joe Smith, but I have a cowboy store right down the street. Said, I'd love to get you in some boots and a Stetson hat. And I almost said, what the?
5 minutes.
And why would I do that? but I didn't. I bit my tongue, and I went with him, and I ended up getting alligator boots.
Okay.
And a Stetson cowboy hat. And I think I might have worn it the entire time that I worked in Dallas over 3 years. I probably worn it twice.
You had to
That
fit
was
in,
it.
right?
Yeah.
You had to
that
fit
was,
in.
That was it. So then when I left Dallas and moved to Pittsburgh, I gave them to Goodwill.
Well, that was good for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to where we want to go. We want to go to today's State 48 Roofing. It's your call question of the day. Thanks to one Jimmy B.
Thank you, brother.
All right.
So the question is, I thought you were asking Jax because I thought Jax had it up.
This is your question.
This is your
Jimmy.
question.
Well, then read it.
You brought some content.
Read the question.
Okay.
You did it, and I will say the results.
It's almost 4 o'clock. So let's just, this is a little late. All
Yeah,
right.
it is for
Why
me.
are
Yeah.
the D-backs so inconsistent right now?
That's the question that
Your
I wrote.
choices are
Yes.
lack of timely hitting.
Yes.
Bullpen sucks pond water, as you would say.
Yep.
Early injuries to the rotation, or too many fans cheering for the other team. Results are?
83.3% bullpen sucks pond water.
Wow, I did not see that.
7% more fans supporting the visitors.
Really? I went lack of timing. Oh, and timely hitting. Darn, really?
I just felt that was apropos with where this team is right now. And they have so many struggles, and we've talked about it throughout the show today. I won't reiterate everything that we said, but for me, you thought that you were going to get so much more than what you're getting right now. And look, we talked about it's a long season. We know that. And there's no reason to panic and go nuts. However, if you get to the point where you are 10 games behind the front runner in the NL West, and let's say it's the Dodgers, and the Padres and Giants are 2 games back, and then it's you because Colorado's not even in the equation.
2.5 minutes, 2.5.
That is so many teams to catch up to and then try to jump at least one of them when you get into August, into September to try to become a wild card team. That's one of the fears that I have that could happen to this team, and a lot of that is placed on the bullpen, which is why I put that question the way I did.
All right, did anybody ask you why you put the question up there?
No, you
2
just,
minutes,
you
2
just
minutes.
asked me if I'd put in a question, so I did.
Just kind of curious.
Yeah.
All right. Do you miss anything? Like why Jimmy B decided to tell us why he did the question? Because Manuch usually does the question, and then I'll usually change it. But
That's true.
Anyway, this hour of the program is brought to you by our friends at Chill Boys, chillboys.com. And if you want to get hooked up with a 20% discount on your first order, go to chillboys.com and use the code ESPN. That's chillboys.com. Underwear that actually gives a damn about your comfort.
Woo.
Yes.
I've
good
got a
stuff
pair
there.
on right now.
Do you really?
Yeah.
That's weird
Yeah.
because how many pairs did you get?
You gave me 3.
Gave you 3.
Yes.
And here we are on Thursday.
Yes.
And you have said every day that you had them on.
You ever hear of a thing called a
1
washer?
minute.
You ain't doing wash during the week.
Yeah, I
Doing
do.
a weekend thing for you?
No.
When do they let you go to the laundromat at Sun Lake?
I ride my bicycle to it.
You bring your lunch. Oh, that's great. Hey, again, if you missed anything, we had Jody Jackson on the program. We had John Sapichetti talking about the Boston Celtics fans. You just heard Howard Balzer. Everything is up
30 seconds.
at rockandmanuch.com or the Arizona Sports app. Thanks to our good friend Connor Collins, who puts that up each and every day. Tomorrow we'll be out at Wright Toyota again. It's been fun. No Manuch.